The second half of our quadruple header here in Clearwater. The 2019 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championships are underway. And in the first game of the second session, it is the 2-seed Cincinnati Bearcats against the 7-seed Memphis Tigers. We take a look at the bracket. We saw the first session earlier today. How about this? An upset. Wichita State over ECU earlier. Of course, UConn walking off against Houston. Today, in the second half of the games today, we have the bottom half of the bracket. Cincinnati against Memphis before UCF against Tulane a little bit later. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Jeff Sharon, along with Mr. Play-by-Play himself, Garrett Wilverd. Garrett, the Memphis Tigers, they somehow do it every year here in Clearwater. They're the 7th seed. They're back after a one-year absence, and they always seem to make noise here at Spectrum Field, don't they?
They've got a quality coach. They always have good hitters in their lineup, and this year they're led by one of the better freshmen in the conference, but more on him in just a minute. I think Memphis has a chance to really make some noise here. They average just under 2 wins whenever they make Clearwater. We'll see what kind of noise they make this year.
Meanwhile, as we take a look at the Memphis keys to the game, obviously, limiting mistakes is something that they've had to do, especially on defense, and they're going to have to do that today, aren't they?
They led the conference in errors this year, but this is a talented club. They also need to get a total lineup contribution today. As a team, Memphis hits about 275. They've got some power. Let's see if they can make Cincinnati pay.
On the other side of the ledger, the Cincinnati Bearcats were picked 8th in the preseason. They're 7th in the league in ERA, last in team batting average, 3 under 500. Go figure, they're the 2-seed.
You can't steal your way on base, but once they get on, they're the best in the business, especially in the American. So if they can use that solid defense, if they can utilize their speed, they've certainly got a chance to make some noise here in Clearwater and then maybe advance to the semifinals.
Cincinnati won 2 out of 3 at Memphis in the regular season, but Memphis won the last meeting in Clearwater back in 2017. Hunter Goodman, the freshman for Memphis, wasn't there at that time, but boy, what a find he's been for Darren Schoenrod.
He is the rookie position player of the year in the American, leads the entire conference with 66 runs driven in, and when you take a look at all the offensive categories, Hunter Goodman's top 10 in every one.
On the other side for Cincinnati, key player for them, Joey Bellini from Winter Park, Florida, just up I-4 from here. He's got some family in the stands today.
Local product, so of course he's familiar with this area, with this field. He's their leading hitter. He's also #1 in doubles on this team. If he can get on base, let the big boppers drive him around a little bit, I think it could be a fun week for the Bearcats. And again, they're trying to make history here. Haven't been very successful in the tournament so far.
0-10 all time in the tournament. Can Cincinnati turn it around and beat Memphis, or will the Tigers make more noise in the tournament as they do every year? Starting lineups and first pitch after this here on the American Digital Network.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
Starting lineups for the Memphis Tigers here in the third game of the American Athletic Conference Baseball Championships. The Tigers are the 7th seed. Ben Brooks will lead it off for Memphis, followed by the senior Colton Neal, Hunter Goodman, the freshman left fielder who's been key for them, Kyle Ouellette, Cole Henneman, Alec Trella, Peyton Marshall bats 7th, Nick Vogie is batting 8th, and Jason Santana, the catcher, will bat 9th. Pitcher for Cincinnati, Garrett Wilverd, is going to be David Orndorff. The righty comes in with a 4-2 record and a 4.37 earned run average.
As you can see, great size up there on the hill. 6'4", 205 pounds, a junior out of Pasadena, California, grew up with the Rose Bowl in his backyard. He's trying to make his name known here in Clearwater. He's got a good defense behind him. Let's see if they can play up to their strengths today against Memphis.
Now look at that defensive lineup. Mitch Holding from Melbourne, Australia is the catcher. Eric Santiago, Joey Bellini, Jace Mercer, and Cole Murphy across the diamond. In the outfield, Joey Weimer, Jeremy Johnson, and A.J. Bumpus left to right for the Bearcats. A blazing hot first day of the tournament. 95 degrees, the current indicated temperature here at Spectrum Field. Spring training home of the Philadelphia Phillies. Also home of the Clearwater Threshers of the Florida State League. And we're just about ready to go with our first hitter of the day. Leading it off for the Memphis Tigers is Ben Brooks. Ben, the righty, second baseman. Sophomore, hitting .287 on the year. No homers, 19 runs batted in. And Orndorff, who started his Cincinnati career back in 2015, kicks and deals the first pitch in there for a strike.
Jeff, I think the enthusiasm level is at a very near high for the Bearcats fans. They enter this postseason conference tournament with their highest seed since 2008, when they were the number 2 in the Big East tournament. That was also held here in this ballpark.
The 0-1 is hit in the air toward right. Coming in and making the catch, A.J. Bumpus, after losing his hat. 1 down.
Last year, the Bearcats were the number 6 seed. They lost to UConn, lost to USF, were not able to come away. And again, 0-10 in this tournament. I think this is the year they turn things around.
Up next for Memphis, Colton Neal, the center fielder, senior, 289 hitter. On the year, the last time these two teams met in this tournament here in Clearwater 2 years ago, Colton Neal was the hero. He takes the ball inside, 1-0. That wild game, remember that, Garrett? 15-14 in 10 innings, highest scoring game in the history of the tournament, but it was Neal who shut Cincinnati down on the mound, pitched 3 perfect innings, and then got the game-winning hit in the bottom of the 10th.
Tons of offense. Couldn't ask for a better shot at winning their first game in tournament play, and Cincinnati finished that short.
And they had a 14-8 lead late in that game. Of course, Memphis had an 8-2 lead earlier in that game. 1-1 from Orndorff. Misses outside, 2-1. Orndorff on the year, 4-2 with a 4.37. This is appearance number 10 on him for the year. He's thrown 47 in a third. Given up 23 runs, all of them earned on 42 hits. Walked 8, struck out 34. 2-1. Waved at and missed by Neal, and the count now square at 2-2.
In the regular season, just 2 weeks ago, Cincinnati took 2 out of 3 from Memphis. The Tigers lost the first game, picked up the second, and then in the rubber match, it was the Bearcats winning 4-2.
This one's fouled back toward us. We'll come back and do it again, 2-2.
That was the last conference series for Cincinnati. They finished up with Xavier. Played a couple of games across the state, one in Mason, Ohio, one in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah, they were the ones who had that late season bye week, I guess you could call it, playing out of conference. 2-2. Neal fouls that one off. We'll come back and do it again.
That is, of course, the head coach, Scott Guggens, going against his old team, the team where he had done so well. Got the attention of the crosstown Cincinnati Bearcats and was eventually hired 2 seasons ago.
One out, no one on. 2-2 the count to Colton Neal, the center fielder for Memphis. And this is hit high in the air toward right. Heading back is Bumpus. That ball is gone. A line drive home run for Colton Neal, and Memphis takes a 1-0 lead. For Neal, it's his 4th home run of the season. Boy, that was an absolute shot off the bat in right.
Pretty impressive showing there. That ball left out over the plate. Unfortunately for the Bearcats fans, driven, an off-speed pitch that got out of here in a hurry. Flags blowing out hard through right center field. That's the way to start if you're a Memphis Tiger.
Shades of 2 years ago when the wind was blowing out in that wild game. So it's 1-0 with 1 out and nobody on. And here steps Hunter Goodman, the newcomer position player of the year in the conference. .332 hitter. And the 0-1 waved at and missed quickly behind 0-2.
You mentioned Orndorff has thrown over 45 innings this year. That's the 6th home run that he's given up. Give Memphis an early lead here in the first.
What a find Hunter Goodman has been for Darren Schoenrock and Memphis. Here's the 0-2, takes outside 1-2. 6 feet tall, 205 pounds, from Arlington, Tennessee. He had offers from a number of major schools, SEC offers, ACC offers, but he decided to stay home in Memphis.
According to Jeff Brightwell, he grew up a Tiger fan.
And now he hits one high in the air to left center, but underneath it is Johnson. He makes the catch, 2 down.
With the wind blowing out the way it is, you'll consider that a win. Hunter Goodman retired quietly. There's Coach Darren Schoenrock.
In his 34th season in college baseball, 15th year in Memphis. How about that coaching record right there? 31 of his former players in the majors.
Picked up his 400th career win at Memphis earlier this season.
Kyle Ouellette now steps to the plate, the designated hitter for the Tigers. Senior's hitting .306 on the year. He's got 3 homers and 23 runs batted in. Mentioned David Orndorff, who this year hitters are hitting .246 against him. This one's grounded down the line and fair. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Ouellette trots into second, takes a wide turn, but retreats back. It's a 2-out double for Kyle Ouellette. His 8th double of the year, and Memphis is going to try and see if they can get a little bit extra here in the top of the first.
How about that? 2 hits in the ball game, both for extra bases, and that's some pressure early on Orndorff. Makes the turn at second. Wisely goes back. Nice start for the Tigers.
They've been hitting the ball really hard with these first 4 in these first 4 batters. 2 flyouts, a home run, and then a double down the line. That takes us to Cale Henneman, the senior. .260 average on the year. Runner on second, 2 out, and Henneman grounds this over toward the right side. Jace Mercer fields and throws over to a covering Orndorff, who makes the play to end the inning. But a home run by Colton Neal gives Memphis the early 1-0 lead after half an inning here in Clearwater. This is the 2019 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship presented by the Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
1-0 your score here in Clearwater. Memphis with the lead after a half an inning, but Cincinnati coming up to bat. Here's a look at the Bearcats lineup for the 2 seed. Eric Santiago will lead it off, followed by Joey Bellini, Wyatt Stapp, Joey Weimer's batting cleanup. Mitch Holding, the catcher, bats 5th, followed by Jace Mercer and A.J. Bumpus. Jeremy Johnson is in the 8th spot, and David Orndorff, the pitcher, is slotted for the 9th spot. And they will face, for the Memphis Tigers, Chris Durham, the lefty.
Durham sat out last week, so he is well rested going into this tournament. He's been successful this year with a 3.5 ERA, 12 starts, 1 relief appearance. He's 4-3 and in 68 innings pitched. He struck out 72, allowed just 70 hits and 27 earned runs. Opponents are hitting .260 against him. Jeff, let's take a look at the defense for the Tigers.
And well, we see Durham obviously on the hill. Jason Santana, the spectacular defensive catcher behind the plate. Across the diamond, Henneman, Trella, Colton Neal over at second. Nick Vogie over at first, Hunter Goodman's in left, Jeremy Johnson in center, and Peyton Marshall in right. Correction, Colton Neal is actually listed over at center. Ben Brooks is at second, beg your pardon. Leadoff hitter for Cincinnati is Eric Santiago, the third baseman, the junior, hitting .246 on the year. No homers, but 18 runs batted in. .332 on base. And the first pitch from Durham is roped into left for a leadoff single. So Santiago has his 49th hit of the year. 1 pitch and 1 on for the Bearcats here in the bottom of the first.
Let's take a closer look. Right over the middle, just above the belt. He's able to deposit that into shallow left field. So runner on with nobody out to get things started here in our Game 3 on opening day.
And in steps Joey Bellini for the Cincinnati Bearcats. Native of Winter Park, Florida. In the Orlando area, about a 90-minute drive away from here if the traffic's good on I-4. Came to Cincinnati from St. John's River State College. Santiago putting some pressure here on Durham on the base paths as Bellini takes a strike, 0-1. Bellini, a junior, 6'2", 190 pounds. And the 0-1 from Durham. That one misses 1-1.
We've talked about it in the previous broadcast. 10 freshmen made the pledge to Cincinnati last year. They've had a strong impact on this year's outcome, especially on the mound. They've also got veteran leadership. 8 seniors, 11 juniors that have pushed them to the #2 overall seed in the conference.
1-1's in the dirt. It gets behind Santana, and Santiago will advance to second.
Hard to believe it, but it took them 6 seasons to forge a winning record in conference play. They've finally done it. This group of seniors has done it. Here's a closer look at this ball. And it one hops underneath the glove. That one didn't really come up too much.
Like he crossed him up. He set up on the outside, and the pitch came on the inside low corner. So runner on second, nobody out. And a 2-1 count. You can hear the wind now that's blowing toward right. Durham fires, and that one misses on the inside, 3-1. Temperatures dipped down to 93 degrees here in Clearwater. It's just been a hot day, and the weather has been beautiful this week. Ball 4 to Joey Bellini. So 2 batters, 2 base runners for the Bearcats here in the bottom of the first, down 1-0.
Both teams able to generate some base runners in the first inning of play.
Wyatt Stapp now steps to the plate, the designated hitter for the Bearcats. 281 on the season, 2 homers, 26 runs batted in. And a 355 on base. Just like that here in the bottom of the first, a key juncture for the 2-seeded Bearcats. First and second, nobody out against the redshirt junior Chris Durham from Collierville, Tennessee. Went to Christian Brothers High School. That pitch is in there for a strike, 0-1. Durham came to Memphis from Central Arkansas. He's majoring in organizational leadership. And when you talk to the Memphis people, they say that he's done exactly that for them this year. One of the key veterans on this team. That one misses in the count, 1-1. Nobody out, 2 on. And the pitch is in there for a strike. Hey, let's go down to our field level. Haley Outen is joining us to talk about the hot and windy weather. Haley, what you got?
Jeff, you mentioned that the temperature is dropping to a low 93 degrees, but interestingly enough, right now there must be a cloud over the stadium because we're starting to get some sprinkles and some drizzle now. So the first time we've seen any rain so far today.
We'll be sending the hoodie down immediately for you in that 93-degree weather. Durham checks the runner back down at second. The weather is expected to be beautiful all throughout the week. It's going to be hot, a little breezy, and pretty humid. Sharp contrast to last year, Garrett, when we had to have 2 games going on at the same time here in Clearwater due to some canceled games because of the weather that we suffered from last year. But if you're the American, you couldn't have asked for a better situation for this week here in Clearwater. 1-2 popped up to the right side. Vogie on top of the line makes the catch for the first out of the inning. the cleanup spot we go, and Joey Weimer.
Last team that Durham faced was Cincinnati. Went 6 2/3 and absorbed a loss. He gave up 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 of them were earned. He also struck out 7, but that was 2 weekends ago. He's had some time to rest. Looks pretty sharp starting off here.
And that was his career long, by the way, too, 6 2/3. If Memphis can get that out of him today, I think they'd be pretty happy with it. Weimer at the plate, 258 on the year. 6 homers, 26 runs batted in the cleanup spot. And he takes a ball, 1-0.
Weimer with great size, 6'5", 215 pounds, a Michigan native. Hitting .328 in his sophomore season. Prime RBI opportunity with only 1 out.
And definitely could use one here, down 1-0. He taps this one over to short. Alec Trella fields great scoop, throws on to first in time to get Weimer. The runners advance, but that was a fantastic scoop by Alec Trella over at short.
All that BP they took the last couple of days. He understood how the hops happen here. Picks it up off the dirt cleanly. That was a very nice finish.
2 down here in the bottom of the first, and the runners are on second and third.
Catcher number 23, Mitch Holding.
And that'll take us to Mitch Holding, the catcher. Holding on the year, batting only .191, but had a key home run last week. He's 17 of 89 at the plate, 3 homers and 13 runs batted in. Holding all the way from Melbourne, Australia. Was in the Australian national team youth system. Waves and misses at the first delivery, 0-1. Got his start in American colleges at Odessa Community College and then came here to Memphis. 6 feet tall, 230 pounds. Could probably play linebacker if he wanted to as well. Waves at that one, 0-2 quickly the count.
You bring up football, both of these teams are going to have a very nice 2019. I can feel it. Cincinnati and Memphis.
Well, I know if you're UCF up the road, you've seen quite enough of Memphis the last 2 years. 4 meetings, 2 of them in the conference championship game. Here's the 0-2. That one misses in the dirt, and the count now 1-2. Bellini is the runner at second. Santiago, the runner at third. 2 out here in the bottom of the first, and a 1-0 Memphis lead. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Woolvard here with you in Clearwater for the 2019 American Baseball Championship.
Memphis with a marquee game to get their football season started. Ole Miss coming to Tennessee.
The 1-2, waved at, miss, strike 3. So Durham fights back with a couple of runners on. He then retires the Bearcats and does not allow any runs on the board. 1-0 Memphis, your score after 1 full here in Clearwater. It's the American Baseball Championship presented by the Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
Scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
1-0 your scores. We head to the second inning. Memphis leading Cincinnati, the 7 seed leading the 2 seed. Here on the first day of the American Baseball Championship here in Clearwater. So glad you could join us. On this hot day here at Spectrum Field, home of the Philadelphia Phillies for spring training, the Clearwater Threshers of the Florida State League. These two teams are more than familiar with one another, especially in this setting. The last time they met was the highest scoring game in conference tournament history, 15-14 in 10 innings. How hot is it? Well, the fans have found their way underneath the overhangs here. It might look sometimes in the stands like it's empty. No, they're actually underneath the places where there's shade, and I don't blame them one bit. David Orndorff heads out to the mound for his second inning of work for the Bearcats. Gave up a home run to Colton Neal in the first. And leading off for the Memphis Tigers, Alec Trella. Trella's a junior, .262 hitter on the year. Takes a ball on that one. Trella's a big kid, 6'3", 218. He's from Bloomington, Illinois. And Orndorff quickly behind in the count, 2-0. Talked to the folks from Cincinnati about David Orndorff, and they just absolutely love him to death. One of the true leaders on the team. Came back from Tommy John surgery in 2017.
Breaking ball finishes a little high there.
And the count now 3-0 to Alec Trella. That one right down the middle for a strike. When we mentioned Orndorff, think back to his first year at Cincinnati was 2015. So he's been here for 5 seasons. Seen a lot come and go in his final year with the Bearcats. 3-1 misses high and in. And Trella has a leadoff walk.
Trella went 3 of 9 2 weekends ago against Cincinnati. Had a couple RBIs, scored 3 runs. Now he's on base again, courtesy of the free pass, a leadoff base runner.
And that'll bring up Peyton Marshall. The right fielder for the Tigers, hitting .319. .420 with runners on. He's got a runner on first, and he swings at the first offering and pops this one into left. Heading in is Weimer, and he makes the catch. Look out, as Bellini was heading back. But Weimer takes care of it, 1 down.
Well, converging on the play, and dangerously so, Weimer, Bellini. Thankfully, the out is made. They didn't even make any contact. That's the best you can hope for there.
Nick Vogie now steps to the plate with 1 out and a runner on first. Vogie, a junior, .265. He's batting in the 8th spot in the order. 3 homers, 28 runs batted in. He fouls the first pitch back. Trella's the runner at first for the Memphis Tigers. Memphis finished the season 27-26, the regular season overall record. 10-13 in the conference. And the 0-1's in there for a strike. Quickly 0-2. This one's hit high in the air to right center. Bumpus going back for it. It's carrying all the way to the track, and Bumpus makes the catch. Runner has to retreat back to first, but the wind caught a hold of that one once again.
Bumpus, very talented, bats near the lower part of the order. Great at the plate, tracked that one down, understood that the wind's really carrying things out here deep into right field. You don't make that play, and that's trouble.
Jason Santana now steps to the plate. Santana, the catcher in the 9 spot, .227 hitter on the year. .297 on base. 2 out and 1 on this one's fisted down the line and right, and foul. Santana, 5'11", 187. He's a Chicago kid. Senior, graduate of Lane Technical High School.
Some pretty nice stats on the gridiron, too, at the prep level.
Yep.
Quarterback, fullback, cornerback, all-conference selection.
He's really settled into that starting catcher role at Memphis pretty well. He really was a defensive stalwart for a long time. 0-1 is hit foul down the line.
That dual sports star reminds me of Chris Carrier a couple years ago from Memphis, who was a huge prep football star.
What a year he had in his last year, too, Chris Carrier. He was really something for Memphis.
Turned that into a draft pick and a minor league career.
Trella's the runner at first, 2 out. And an 0-2 to Santana. Swung on and missed, strike 3. David Orndorff strikes out Santana and ends the threat. We played 1.5 here in Clearwater. 1-0 Memphis, your score. This is the 2019 American Baseball Championship, presented by the Air Force Reserve.
We all dream about our next vacation, but some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Great afternoon to be at Frenchie's here in Clearwater at Spectrum Field. 1-0 your score. We head to the bottom of the second. Memphis, the 7th seed, with the lead over the 2 seed Cincinnati. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Wolverd with you here once again from the American Athletic Conference Baseball Championships. Good to see everybody back here. A lot of familiar faces once again here in beautiful Clearwater.
Frenchie's always a great spot for some souvenirs. 2 home runs hit in that first game. One blasted the bar stools. Another one went into the roof. So, you know, when the wind's flying out, that's a great place to pick up a ball for your kid, or maybe a souvenir for yourself. And also a good place to maybe catch a cold beverage. Now here's one of the more talented players with Cincinnati. Jace Mercer will lead things off for the Bearcats.
6, 7, and 8 due up for Cincinnati. Mercer, Bumpus, and Cole Murphy. Jace on the year 232, but 406 as a leadoff hitter, and Chris Durham's first offering is in there for a strike. Durham fought out of a jam in the first inning. And Mercer taps this one foul. Mercer, one of the few guys remaining from the last time these two teams met back in 2017 for Cincinnati. Had a 3 RBI double in that game.
Mercer's played in all but 3 games this year.
And that one's fouled off. Mercer is a 5'10", 185-pound junior from Johns Creek High School in Johns Creek, Georgia, outside of the Atlanta area.
Good to see that strikeout on the last pitch by Orndorff. Cincinnati's pitching staff set the school record this year with 440 strikeouts going into the conference tournament, most ever.
0-2 from Durham is a good piece of hitting by Mercer into right field for a base hit. You saw him choke up on the bat a little bit, and he's able to fight that one off for a leadoff single.
Bumpus with great speed on the base paths, your team leader with 20 steals on the year. You said he was hitting over 400 when he leads off an inning. Pretty impressive. Now he's got a chance to get into scoring position.
So that's the second hit given up by Chris Durham, and that brings up A.J. Bumpus, the right fielder. A.J. 254 on the year, 264 with runners on. 34 runs batted in, and this one is fisted into right for a base hit. Mercer's going to try for third. Here comes the throw. It's not in time. Good play at third, backing it up. And it looks like Mercer might be shaken up on the play. How about the hustle getting around second? We talked about the good speed. It should be first and third here and nobody out. Let's see if Mercer's all right.
How quickly that ball took off his bat to get into right field. Marshall's going to make the play on this one. Sees the runner going. He'll hit the cutoff man, and the throw not quite in time. Slides in. Doesn't look like he pinned back any of his extremities. But obviously, maybe something deal with his core. He's back up. Good to go now.
It looked a little awkward, but maybe he got the wind knocked out of him or something. But nonetheless, it's first and third for Cole Murphy, the first baseman. Cole's hitting .231 on the season, one of those seniors for Cincinnati. 2 home runs, 15 runs batted in 41 games. And he takes a ball from Chris Durham. Durham's already up over 20 pitches. He's actually at 21 right now. Giving up 3 hits. This is a double play ball over to short. Trella can't make the play, and the run comes in to score. Well, how about that? We talked about in the pregame, Garrett, about how Memphis's defense and the mistakes that they make has come back to bite them a couple times this year, and it certainly did, to the tune of tying the game.
It's their conference-leading 73rd error of the year, and basically, you try and get the double play there. You give the run away, but boy, an opportunity that's missed by the Tigers.
So the run scorers, we're now tied at 1, nobody out, first and second, and we head to the number 9 hitter in the lineup, Jeremy Johnson, .256 hitter. 2 homers, 16 runs batted in. Shows bunt here and lays it down. It's a good one. Durham's going to have to hurry, and he makes the play. 1 down, runners advance to second and third.
Great sacrifice there laid down by the 9-hole, Jeremy Johnson. That one just died coming off his bat, and having to dart in is Durham. Both runners now in scoring position on the sacrifice.
And that'll take us back to the top of the order, and Eric Santiago, who had a hit to lead off the first for the Bearcats. Here he is with a chance to put his team in the lead. Second and third, 1 out. And that one misses inside, and the count 1-0. Joey Bellini is on deck. The leading hitter for the Bearcats. Santiago 6th on the team at .246 coming in.
He liked what he saw 2 weeks ago against Memphis. 4 hits and 11 at-bats and scored 4 runs.
Got to see if he gets another pitch that he might like here from Durham. He singled that first time. And you can see Durham very tentative with him out there. Is now behind in the count 3-0 with 1 out and second and third. In a tie ball game, 1-1 your score here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater. That one catches the corner, and the count now 3-1. With runners in scoring position, Eric Santiago hitting .269 this year.
Durham with the best ERA by a starter for Memphis. Second lowest on the team, only behind Neal. Gotten into some trouble early here. 1 run has come across.
Santiago just got a piece of that one, and the count is now full.
Now, of course, you got to work with the headache of having 2 runners in scoring position behind you. See what he does here against Santiago.
And the other thing, too, is no double play in play right now. So, with second and third. Full count, 1 out. Murphy is at second. Bumpus is at third in a 1-1 game. And that one's fouled back.
Durham twice this year has been on the American Weekly Honor Roll. Top 7 in the conference in strikeouts, top 7 in ERA. Looking to try and find a comfort level out there. Cincinnati's not making it easy on him.
No, they haven't so far in these 2 innings. Here's the payoff pitch again. Santiago swings and misses. Santana has to go down to first. Good job looking back the runner at third. But that's a key strikeout for Chris Durham. 2 down now with second and third.
Second strikeout of the ball game. That's how they ended the first inning, with Mitch Holding striking out. Now Joey Bellini, the all-conference performer, coming to the plate.
Now, Bellini, the team's leading hitter this year at .298. Interestingly for Cincinnati, no players this year in the regular season batted at .300 or above, which is rare in college baseball. You know, it just goes to show you what a season that this Bearcat team has had. They've struggled in hitting this year. They struggled in the pitching staff, and yet they're the 2 seed. And this one's ripped up the middle and past the second baseman for a base hit. 1 run comes in to score. Coming around third and scoring is Murphy. It's a 2-run single for Joey Bellini, and Cincinnati takes a 3-1 lead.
Huge play by Bellini. This one gets past the glove. Brooks just can't get a glove on it. Gets out into the outfield, and both runners come around to score. Now a 2-run cushion up there for Cincinnati.
Felt for a second there like Durham was almost going to get out of that jam, but now the Tigers, who had a 1-0 lead, have given up 3 here in the bottom of the second. Runner on first and 2 out still. And Wyatt Stapp, the DH, at the plate. He's 0 for 1 to the right side. Fielded by Brooks. He throws on in time, and that ends the inning. But Cincinnati tacks on 3 in the bottom of the second. We played 2 full here in Clearwater. Your score is now 3-1, Bearcats over the Tigers. This is the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the United States Air Force Reserve.
Are you mom? Get set. Let's go. It goes.
It's all right, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, zero sugar. Get more out of zero.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
Profanities or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
Three to one your scores. We head to the third. Jeff, Sharon, Garrett Wolver with you here in Clearwater. The Bearcats fight back with 3 in the bottom of the second to take the lead and hand it off to David Orndorff heading into his 3rd inning of the game.
Nice foundation being built at Cincinnati under Coach Scott Guggens now in his 2nd year. The Bearcats tallied their most wins since 2011 in Guggens' first season. They went 28-28, 500 in league play. Guggens made the move across town after 12 seasons as the head coach at Xavier, the all-time winningest coach in their school history. Had 341 wins. You see, Jeff, you mentioned it, they were picked to finish 8th out of 9 teams and ended up being the league runner-up in 2019. Very nice performance. And again, I think that the sky is the limit for this program. Really nice facilities in this conference. Big city. You know, Jeff and I talked about it before. You do have to deal with some of the poachers from the Big Ten and other schools trying to recruit against you. Mm-hmm. But certainly some great history at Cincinnati. I think they have a chance. You know, this senior class has put them on solid footing.
1-1 to Ben Brooks, the leadoff hitter for Memphis from Orndorff. And you're right. You were talking about how Cincinnati, really in all their programs, have made tremendous strides, especially since joining the American, as that one is fouled back. Let's go downstairs to Haley Outen. Haley?
Yeah, you guys mentioned Cincinnati being picked in this preseason to finish 8th, but then heading into this tournament as the 2 seed. And I think that's because they definitely far exceeded people's expectations. And when you look out onto the field right now, there's a lot of new faces. The Bearcats lost a lot of guys to graduation in the draft last year, so the whole starting infield, except for the first baseman, is new. Center field, starting catcher, and 2 of the weekend arms. So there was a lot of question marks going into the season as to figuring out who was going to fill those roles, and seems like they've been doing that pretty nicely so far.
Think about this. Cincinnati's baseball program started in 1888. This year's team has the second best fielding percentage of all time.
That is going way
and that's
back.
After those losses.
This one's grounded toward the left side and through the hole for a base hit for Ben Brooks. Brooks reaches for the first time for the Tigers. And the leadoff man is on for the second time in the ballgame for Memphis. And
right-hander pulls this one through the side. Great attempt there, but not able to pick up the stop is Bellini.
Beg your pardon, Garrett. That'll bring us to Colton Neal, who is responsible for the lone Memphis run so far in the game. Solo home run to right his first time. That was Neal's 4th home run of the season. And he is ahead in the count 1-0. 1-3-1 for the Tigers, 3-4-0 for Cincinnati. As the shadows are starting to get long here at Spectrum Field, winds blowing out to center. Here's the 1-0. And that one misses 2-0. Let's take another look at that home run as well from Neal earlier, which was an absolute shot to right.
Numbers are pretty good on Neal for his career. He blasted that one out of here onto the berm. Might have had a little help from the wind, but tell you, nice quick stroke. Took advantage of a fastball. Made quick work of it.
He takes the 2-0 outside, 3-0, so Colton Neal way out in front on Orndorff. Runner on first is the leadoff hitter, Ben Brooks. Neal stares at a strike, so it's 3-1. Haley, you have a story about Colton Neal real quick, don't you?
Yeah, the Memphis staff was trying to get Colton Neal more involved this year, not only offensively, but on the mound as well. He pitched in his first 3 years, but never really found a concrete role, so now he's playing multiple roles for this Memphis team. But a fun story about Colton, he got engaged to his high school sweetheart toward the end of last season, so not sure what the future holds for him on the diamond, but he credits a lot of his turnaround to realizing there's more things important than baseball, family, and his personal life being one of them. So an exciting last year for Colton.
I don't know about you, but I'd like to see him get a shot at the next level too, because you love to see these guys who are Iron Men out there, pitching and position players, just get a shot. That's what a lot of these guys really want, is just one shot at pro ball. It's a full count, and Orndorff checks the runner at first.
He's played in over 200 games in the field. He's pitched almost 50 games. All of those have been in relief. He has a sub-3 ERA. Not a bad record over 4 years' time.
Yeah, and this year, like we talked about earlier, he's really stepped it up on the hill, too. He's got an ERA under 1, 0.59, and 10 saves. He's really been something as a reliever. See how he does as a hitter here. Facing a payoff pitch. Runner goes, ball 4. So Neal has reached base both times. First and second, nobody out. And what a position now for Hunter Goodman, the left fielder, who flied out to center his first time, gave it a ride. Freshman phenom for the Tigers, who's been a real sensation. And this is his biggest spot yet. Down 3-1, first and second here in the top of the third. And this is down the line, foul by about 5 feet.
Top 10 in the conference in the major offensive categories, 13 home runs on the year, leads the league with 66 runs driven in, and hitting over .330.
He's contributed to this Memphis team that was third in the conference in batting average at .277 and fourth in on base at .375. Here's the 0-1, and that one misses outside. Neal's the runner at first. Brooks is on second. Caught on and missed. And Goodman is behind now 1-2. Feels like he might be pressing a little bit. You think a little bit of nerves there on the part of the freshman?
He did pretty well against Cincinnati to end the season 2 weeks ago. He had 2 home runs in the series against them, including a 3-for-5 game. I think he knows his role. Young man's got a lot of potential. Had a very nice season, something to build on.
332 hitter fouls that one back. The umpires for today's game, Mark Wagers is calling the balls and strikes. Ryan Broussard down the first base line. Manny Gonzalez is over by second base, and Shane Matheny, the third base umpire.
He's the first freshman of the year at Memphis since 1994. Back when they were in the Great Midwest Conference. I was thinking maybe Metro, but that was later.
Facing a 1-2 here, and this is hit towards the gap in right center, tailing away. It's going to fall in and go all the way to the wall. Coming around and scoring is Brooks. Neal stops at third, but it's an RBI double for Hunter Goodman. 3 batters have all reached in this inning, and Memphis cuts into the Cincinnati lead at 3-2.
16th two-bagger of the year for Hunter Goodwin. Might have gotten a little bit of help from the wind as that one kept going on the center fielder, Jeremy Johnson. Only 1 run will come around to score, but Memphis does a nice job there, cutting into the lead of Cincinnati, now a 1-run game.
Kyle Ouellette now will step to the plate with second and third and nobody out. Both teams have 4 hits now in this ball game. In the top of the third. As the wind is now blowing out toward right. First pitch to Ouellette is fouled into the Cincinnati dugout. Ouellette doubled his first time back in the first inning. And with runners in scoring position, he's only hitting .224 this year, despite a .310 overall average and a 401 on base. Fouls that one straight back.
Ouellette was the only Memphis Tiger to play in all 56 games last year. He's missed a couple this season. You take a look at his numbers: 42 starts, 46 appearances.
6'1", 216 senior out of Johnson City, Tennessee. Came to Memphis from Walters State Community College. He's got a second and third, but he's down 0-2 in the count here to Orndorff. And that one misses outside, 1-2.
We'll have to go talk with him after the game. What makes Johnson City so special? They call it out in Wagon Wheel, the song. Remember that? Johnson City, Tennessee.
Orndorff taking his time here. Can't blame him in this key spot. His teammates got him 3 in the bottom of the second, but he's given one of them back. 1-2. Tapped in the air down the right side, and it will be out of play. This is our third of 4 games today here at Spectrum Field to kick off the tournament. Coming up 47 minutes after the conclusion of this one, we will see UCF against Tulane. One and two. Tapped off the pitcher's glove. It's going to be a tough play over at second, but making it is Mercer. They concede the run, and it's now tied at 3. As Neal comes in to score, Goodman advances to third now with 1 out.
6 runs in the first 2+ innings between these two teams. Now tied up, brand new ball game, top of the third.
Where have we heard this before? Lots of offense between these two teams here in Clearwater. Stepping up now to the plate, Cale Henneman, the third baseman.
We were hoping for any kind of offense in the last game before everything broke open late in the game by Wichita State. It was 1-1 for 6 innings.
Of course, in our first game today, UConn walked off against Houston. And in the second game right before this one, the 8 seed Wichita State upsetting ECU. Fireworks continuing here today in Clearwater. We're tied at 3 as this one is fouled back and out of play.
Orndorff with the 89-mile-an-hour fastball there. Henneman a little bit late on it. Cale's been on a tear the last 7 games. The senior has hit a team-best 400 in that stretch. He's 10 of his last 25 with 2 doubles, a triple, 10 RBIs. And those 39 runs driven in on the year, good for second on the club.
Henneman flied out his first time, hitting .258 on the year, .368 with runners in scoring position. 2 homers, 39 runs batted in. 1-1 from Orndorff. Catches the corner. 1-2 now the count. Memphis has pushed 2 across here in the top of the third. Brooks singled. Neal walked. Goodman doubled to bring in Brooks, and then Ouellette grounded out, but Neal came in to score. And with a runner on third, that one's fouled off, and we'll do the 1-2 once again. Good at bat by Henneman.
Tried to poke that one into shallow left field. Couldn't quite come around on it. After falling behind 3-1, Henneman's trying to do his best to bring his team back on top.
And the 1-2. Right side line, right over to first base. Nice play by Murphy, who is in perfect position to catch the second out. How about that one? Hit it right on the screws. But now Orndorff has 2 out. Didn't even have to move on that one. How about that?
Yeah.
Yep. That's called knowing your scouting report. Alec Trella now at the plate. Alec walked his first time, and he lines this one into left for a base hit. In comes Goodman, and Memphis retakes the lead 4-3. It's an RBI single for Alec Trella, who's reached base both times.
Now the 4th player on this team with 30 runs driven in on the year. His 30th RBI was a big one. It gives his team the lead. They come back here and make things happen. Pretty impressive now. 4-3 Memphis, the top of the third.
Back and forth we go. It's the 3rd lead change of the game. Peyton Marshall, the right fielder, shows bunt. And takes a strike. 2 out and a runner on first now. Marshall, the right fielder, .317 on the year. 6 feet tall, 222 pounds. He's a senior from Kingsport, Tennessee. Another JUCO kid, came from Walter State Community College. Waves and just barely taps that one back. In a game like this, pitch counts are going to start to be a real factor. Orndorff already up over 50. He's at 56 pitches right now. And now you see from our center field cam the shadows, the boundary of the shadow between the pitcher and the hitter. That's going to start to play some tricks as that one's in the dirt. And advancing to second is Trella. Good stop by Holding. Bounced in front of him a little bit. But how about the speed from Trella now with 2 out, advancing into scoring position. 4-3 Memphis with the lead. Here in the top of the third. The 1-2. Misses outside to the lefty, and the count now 2-2. Here you can see the shadow from the grandstand here at Spectrum Field. Looks like when the sun sets, probably about, well, not when the sun sets, but in about 30 minutes, it's going to finally cover the pitcher's mound. 2-2. Outside, 3-2.
5 Memphis Tigers have already reached base. 4 of them have come around to score. Can Peyton Marshall make it 6?
Got a runner on second and the payoff pitch. Cut on and missed. Strike 3. That ends the inning. But Memphis tacks on 3 to retake the lead. 4-3 after 2.5 here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater. This is the 2019 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship presented by the United States Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Hueso from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
Jeff Sharon and Garrett Wolverd here with you in Clearwater. We go to the bottom of the third, 4-3 Memphis with the lead over Cincinnati. And the second team all-conference performer Chris Durham back out on the hill for the Tigers, facing 8-9-1. Correction, 4-5-6 in the Cincinnati order. Weimer, Holding, and Mercer.
Only 2 all-conference selections between these 2 teams, and they both belong to the Tigers. Durham on the hill and Goodman, the freshman. Cincinnati, the number 2 overall seed, picked to finish 8th without an all-conference look on the first or second team. I love their enthusiasm. It's a team that wants to prove they belong.
And the amazing thing about that, too, Garrett, is taking a first pitch ball is Joey Weimer, the left fielder, who grounded out his first time. You see Durham working very quickly. They're 3 games under 500 overall for the season, but finished in second place in the conference overall. All the things that you would think would go against them. They were last in the conference in hitting. They were near the bottom in team ERA, and yet here they are as the second seed. And that goes to show you on this side of the bracket with Memphis and Cincinnati, UCF, and Tulane, pretty much anything can happen. 3-1 now the count to Joey Weimer, with Memphis ahead 4-3. Durham's given up 3 runs on 4 hits, but only 1 of those runs is earned. He's walked 1 and struck out 2, and he's pushed the count full here. Weimer looks at that one. It's in the dirt, and he'll trot down to first with a leadoff walk.
Well, part of it was a slow start for Cincinnati. They lost 9 of their first 10 games. Then they won 9 games in the month of March. They won 12 more games in April. They were pretty good in May, and of course pushed themselves all the way up to the number 2 overall seed.
And the real trigger for their move in conference play late in the regular season was that 2 out of 3 that they won against UCF at home, culminating in a walk-off win, 2-out, 2-run homer to win the 3rd game of the series.
Remember the first game of the series?
15-0. UCF beat them in that first game, yeah.
Came back and won the next 2.
Yep, and that was a doubleheader, too. 1-0 the count to Mitch Holding, the catcher. Mitch struck out his first time. And he waves and misses at that one. 1-1. He's not happy with himself either. Durham has allowed the leadoff runner on all 3 innings he's thrown. Holding's average down to 189, but he's 411 on base. He's walked 30 times on the year, and that 1-1 is in the dirt, and the count now 2-1. Beg your pardon, 1 and 2. And this one's tapped right back to Durham. It's a double play ball. He has to hesitate, but the throw on from second in time. How about that? A 1-4-3 double play. Durham to Brooks to Vogie. 2 down and nobody on.
41 double plays turned pretty impressive. Memphis is able to take care there. I had to hesitate just a moment. Gets a hard strike over to second. And first in time. Pretty good look by Memphis to erase the runner on the paths.
Base is empty, 2 out now, and Jace Mercer, who singled his first time back in the second inning, will step to the plate. And he takes a ball on the first pitch. Jace, a 240 hitter with 2 out, 237 in total for the year. 31 walks, 54 strikeouts. And the count now 2-0. Coming up on about 6:40 p.m. Eastern time here in Clearwater, Florida, just west of Tampa. The 2-0 way inside. And Durham is behind Mercer in the count 3-0. Durham trying to avoid walking his third Bearcat of the day. And he can't do it. 4-pitch walk. Two out, 1 on now, and stepping to the plate is A.J. Bumpus. Mercer, by the way, has reached both times now with a hit and a walk. AJ this year has bumped his average up to 258. For his career, he's 253. And his hit earlier was career hit number 170. Lifetime at Cincinnati, 20 home runs, 109 runs batted in. His career highs in those respective categories are back in 2017. He had 7 and 40, but he whistles this one through the right side for a 2-out hit. First and second now. With 2 down. And A.J. Bumpus is now 2 for 2.
Mercer thought a hard look on second base about maybe turning the corner. Good choice, though. Holds him up here. Quickly getting to the ball was Marshall. Got that into the cutoff man.
Good piece of hitting, too, getting that by Brooks over at second, who's playing deep in the hole. And now Cole Murphy will step to the plate. Murphy reached on an error and was credited with an RBI back in the second. He's got a first and second here with 2 out. And this is down toward the right side, but fielded by Vogie over at first, and he'll take care of it himself to end the inning. So Memphis is able to hold off Cincinnati and retain the lead. 4-3 through 3. Tigers leading the Bearcats here at the American Baseball Championship, presented by the Air Force Reserve.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do. How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
Back here in Clearwater, home of the Philadelphia Phillies in the spring, and of course the Clearwater Threshers of the Florida State League. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Wolverd here with you. 4-3 your score. Memphis with the lead over Cincinnati. It's the 7 seed leading the 2 seed here in Clearwater. We've seen some entertaining games between these 2 squads in the past. Last time they met, it was the highest scoring game in American Athletic Conference tournament history. 15-14 in 10 innings. Are we headed that way right now? I don't know. It's 4-3 through 3 full. David Orndorff will step back to the hill for Cincinnati. Orndorff has given up 4 runs, all of them earned on 5 hits so far today. Walked 2, struck out 2.
Really is one of the best times of the year for college baseball. Conference tournaments cooking all across the country. And everybody starts looking forward to NCAA regionals.
8-9-1 due up for Memphis. Nick Vogie takes on the first offering.
There are plenty of conference teams thinking about regionals this year. Would you believe that every team in the American has made the regionals sometime in this past decade except for these 2 teams, Memphis and Cincinnati?
1-0 waved at and missed, and the count now 1-1.
Memphis's last trip came in 2007. Unfortunately for Cincinnati, they've made 5 trips to the NCAA tournament, but their last appearance in the regionals, 1974.
And this is a school that has not won an American Athletic Conference tournament game. They're 0-10 all time in this tournament. Two and 1 the count. To Vogie, and he hits this one in the air toward left. Weimer gives it a look, and he makes the catch right on the foul line. 1 down. Jason Santana now will step up to the plate.
Got to deal with a little bit of sunshine there. Obviously, the shadows playing havoc with us. But the out is made for the first of the inning.
And that'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Jason Santana, the catcher for Memphis. Struck out his first time. He's 0 for 1. First pitch. Misses ball 1. Talking about pitch counts, and we're looking at David Orndorff right now at over 65. Or this next pitch will be number 66. I beg your pardon. In this 4-3 ball game here, we're only in the top of the 4th. Here's the 1-0. And that one misses low and away to the righty. 2-0. Reminder coming up next, our 4th of 4 games here on the opening Tuesday of the tournament. UCF and Tulane. Great nightcap here on the American Digital Network. 2-0 is laced down the line in left and foul.
Turned the hips and just obliterated that ball. Long way down the left field line. Santana with a lot of experience for Memphis over the last 4 seasons, playing in his 200th career game today for the Tigers. Here's how our first 2 games evened up. UConn in the bottom of the 9th walked off against Houston. They'll move on to the winner's bracket. And Wichita State, the 8, upsets the 1.
Santana drives this one towards the gap and left, but coming over from center is Johnson to make the catch. Hard hit, but it's allowed out. 2 down.
You're going to have a great game tomorrow morning when the regular season conference champs East Carolina and Houston match up. Oh, that'll actually be at 3 o'clock tomorrow. That's our first game. And then, of course, tonight, stick around. We've got Tulane's broadcast crew already in the building, the Green Wave and the Knights. That'll be at about 45 minutes after the conclusion of this game.
And then the second game tomorrow will be the loser of this game against the loser of that game, and that promises to be filled with intrigue as well as we go back to the top of the Memphis order, and Ben Brooks, who is 1 for 2. Singleton scored his last time back in the 3rd. 2 down, nobody on. Oh, beg your pardon, Garrett, go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're looking for souvenirs, any Tulane game is a good one to come to because the Green Wave hit it out with alarming efficiency. The best in the conference when it comes to slugging the ball, 87 home runs in 55 games this year.
And they are the only team in the American with a team batting average over 300. They're at 305 this year. As a team, they're slugging .526. 1-1 to Brooks, his inside 2-1. Orndorff looks to have settled down in this frame. We're in the top of the 4th with Memphis leading 4-3. Here's the 2-1. Foul back 2-2.
Well, in the first day of action, we're seeing the freshman player of the year in Hunter Goodman, the coach of the year in Cliff Godwin. Later tonight, we'll see Cody Hosey, the player of the year in his junior season. Second in the country with 23 home runs. There's Coach Schoenrock, whose team currently enjoys a 1-run lead. Here in the top of the fourth.
2 out and the 2-2. This is ripped right to short to Bellini. He makes the catch and ends the inning. We played 3.5 here in Clearwater. Your score remains 4-3 Memphis over Cincinnati. It's the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the United States Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health.
And promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
We head to the bottom of the fourth. The Memphis Tigers, the 7th seed, leading the 2-seed Cincinnati Bearcats 4-3. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Wolford with you here from Clearwater. This is game number 3 of 4 today. Of course, UCF and Tulane coming up after this on this busy first day of the tournament. We'll have 2 games a day through Friday, and then semifinal Saturday is going to depend on everything with these double elimination brackets. Chris Durham will step back out onto the hill for the Tigers. He's given up 3 runs, only one of them earned on 5 hits through 3 full. Walked 3, struck out 2, and he's over the 50 pitch mark, and he will face 9-1-2 in the Cincinnati batting order. And leading off will be Jeremy Johnson, the Auburn transfer who had a sacrifice bunt his first time back in the 2nd inning. And he takes a strike on the first pitch. 4-5-1 for Memphis. 3-5-0 for Cincinnati. Johnson takes that one up high. Johnson kind of in that second leadoff hitter position. He's from Suwanee, Georgia, 5'10", 180. Excellent speed on the base paths. Redshirt junior fouls that one back.
Durham has 4 victories on the year. They came against UNC Wilmington in that start. He also beat the Southern Jaguars with 6 2/3. Southern headed for the NCAA tournament. They just won the SWAC title. And he's beaten the 2 Florida teams, UCF, USF.
This one's waved at in the dirt. Santana gets a hold of it, throws down to first. And out there, 1 down.
Strikeout number 3 on the day. Nice pitch, had him fishing down low. Kind of got away from Santana, but he easily takes care of him with the throw down to first. Now the top of the order.
Strikeout number 3 for Durham. And back we go to Santiago. Got a hit in the first, struck out in the second. Didn't mean to, but he will not get a hit out of it, as running back and making the catch at short is Trella.
If you're a manager, you never want to see the excuse me swing turn into a hit. It almost did, though. That one just kept flying out towards shallow center field.
Yeah, and it looks like, and the way the wind is carrying there, as you see, it's kind of blowing out towards right, and it looked like it was trying to tail away from Trella. But 2 down, nobody on now. And Joey Bellini will step to the plate. Had a big 2 RBI single back in the second to give Memphis a 3-1 lead. It's now 4-3 Memphis. Want to know the count? And the pitch from Durham. This one's laced down the line at third. Let's quickly go down to Haley Outen.
Take a look at Cincinnati head coach Scott Guggens coaching third base. He actually just said it to the shortstop, Joey Bellini, who is up to bat at the plate. But Cincinnati has a slogan this year, next guy up, and it means exactly what it states. It says there's an opportunity for the next guy to step up and get the job done. Refers to pretty much any situation, but you'll hear him say that a lot while he's coaching at third to the guy at the plate.
Well, I know one thing. He would like the next guy up above the 300 batting average mark, as Bellini's pushed himself up over 302. He's the only Bearcat now over 300. Waved at and missed that one. 2-2 the count now. 2 out.
Guggens with a great pedigree in his second season with Cincinnati, but overall 5 wins shy of 400 for his young career.
2-2. Tapped left side, making the play over at short. Trello. Long throw in time. And that ends the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Bearcats in the fourth. We played 4 full here in Clearwater. 4-3 your score. Memphis leading Cincinnati here at the 2019 American Baseball Championship, presented by the United States Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We go to the 5th here in Clearwater. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Woolvard with you from Spectrum Field. 4-3 your score. Memphis with the lead over Cincinnati. Due up for Memphis against the Cincinnati starter David Orndorff. 2, 3, and 4 in the order. Colton Neal, Hunter Goodman, and Kyle Ouellette. Look at the all-time record of these two schools in this tournament. Of course, you mentioned Cincinnati has never won an American Athletic Conference tournament game. 0-10 all-time. Memphis, interestingly enough, they're 8-7 all-time in this tournament. They missed the tournament last year after finishing 9th in the regular season. They are the only team in the American with a winning record in this tournament that has never won the tournament at 8-7 all-time.
Now you're just showing off. It's a great stat.
UCF is 5-9. USF is 7-10. They're the hosts of this tournament in Clearwater. Tulane 4-8. Wichita State 1-2. Colton Neal homered earlier in this ball game. Walked his last time in the 3rd. He has scored twice. Waves at the first pitch from Orndorff, 0-1. Neal, a .292 hitter on the year. Bumped his average up to that point with his home run in the 1st. He's .426 as a leadoff, and he pops this one foul and out of play. You know, the lefty from Cordova, Tennessee. Facing an 0-2, and this one's hit in the air towards center. Heading back for it and making the catch at the wall is Johnson. Boy, that one carried quite a bit out to center, but a great play by Jeremy Johnson, 1 down.
Johnson knew how well the ball was flying out towards the outfield right now. On his horse, makes the catch, saves himself from plowing into the wall. Nice play.
And up steps Hunter Goodman, the freshman. 1 for 2 with an RBI double his last time. Memphis' top hitter. This one's hit high in the air to left center field. Heading back for it is Weimer, and he makes the catch at the track. Looked like that could have carried a little bit, but Goodman is retired.
First pitch swinging outside part of the plate, barreled it up as much as he could, just a little too deep into that gap. Maybe about 15 or 20 yards over to his left. That ball could have gotten out of here.
Looked really good off the bat, too. So 2 out, nobody on. And Kyle Ouellette, the DH. Takes a ball on the first pitch. Kyle's 1 for 2 on the day with an RBI, doubled back in the first. The RBI came on a 4-3 ground out in the third. Slight shift over toward left for him, as Mercer, the second baseman, is playing about 10 feet over to the right of second base. This one's hit in the air to center again, and Johnson makes the catch. That's a 1-2-3 inning with 3 flyouts for Memphis. 4-3 your score. The Tigers with the lead over the Bearcats as we head to the bottom of the 5th here in Clearwater. It's the American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
We all dream about our next vacation, but some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
4-3 your scores. We head to the bottom of the 5th. Frenchies is a good place to be right now with that shade. 7th seed leading the 2 seed here in Clearwater. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Wolverd here with you at Spectrum Field. Another beautiful Tuesday afternoon here for some college baseball, as the Memphis Tigers and pitcher Chris Durham has gone the distance to this point. This will be his 5th inning of work. He's given up 3 runs, only 1 of them earned on 5 hits, and struck out 3. He will face the meat of the Cincinnati order in this frame, though. 3, 4, and 5. Stapp, Weimer, and Holding. Although he's held the 3 of them to a combined 0 for 5 so far today. First pitch is in the dirt to Stapp. Wyatt Stapp, the DH, popped out to first in the first and grounded to second in the second.
Orndorff, the pitcher for Cincinnati, has set down 7 in a row. Durham looks to be settling a bit as well. He set down 4 Bearcats consecutively.
That one's taken inside. Durham's up over 60 pitches in this ball game. And this one is fouled back. 2-1 now the count. Wyatt Stapp in his first year here in Cincinnati. 281 hitter on the season. He's got 57 hits and 203 at bats. And the 2-1 misses and count now 3-1. We've seen both of these pitchers settle in after that rocky start in the last few frames.
Both of them have been working through the middle of the order.
3-1. Tapped right side. It will trickle foul. Stapp on the season with 26 runs batted in. He's also struck out 27 times and walked 21. 2 homers, 6 doubles, and a triple. Takes a deep breath, and he'll face a payoff pitch from the lefty Chris Durham. Over to the left side, Trellich short. Makes the play, 1 down. And that's 5 in a row now retired by Chris Durham.
Good velocity, kept it down. Really strong throw across the diamond there. Got him by a couple of steps. Got to do all that with the sun in your eyes, too. That left side of the infield still dealing with the sun here.
And this won't be easy either with Joey Weimer stepping to the plate. Joey walked his last time. Took that one inside.
He certainly has a lively bat waiting for the pitch. Kind of reminds me of Craig Counsell.
Yep.
Does anybody remember Craig Counsell?
Well, I grew up in South Florida.
World
so yes,
Series champion with the Marlins.
Yep. This one's ripped down the line and left and foul.
Sat on an 88-mile-an-hour fastball there. Whatever works.
Craig Counsell won 2 World Series. One with the
Arizona?
Marlins, one with Arizona. That's right. 1-1. That one misses inside. Joey Weimer, 257 hitter, but you want to talk about power, he's got it, 6 home runs. That one's in the dirt, good stop by Santana. 397 slugging percentage for the left fielder. Joey's 6'5", 215 pounds, he's just a sophomore from Temperance, Michigan. And he's shown good temperance at the plate so far in this at-bat. 3-1 in there for a strike, and the count runs full.
Durham with a nice off-speed offering, 74 miles an hour there. Just catches it at the knees.
And what a challenge this is in this particular situation, facing a lefty in your first game in the tournament as Durham misses inside ball 4. We'll have a runner on first and 1 out.
So Weimer's been on twice today. Now Mitch Holding will come to the plate. Grounded into a double play in his last at-bat.
And a similar situation this time now with that runner on first and 1 out. Holding only .213 with runners on this year. And that one gets past Santana. The runner advances to second. So 1-0 now the count.
That one looked like it came out of his hand a little bit funny. Really burns the inside, 86 miles an hour. Weimer quickly pops up, thinks about more.
Interested to see how they rule that one. And they rule it a stolen base for Weimer. So 1-0 the count with 1 out and a runner on second now. Memphis leading the game 4-3. Tigers got 1 in the first on the home run by Neal. Bearcats got 3 in the bottom of the second. Memphis answered with 3 in the top of the third, and that's where we stand. And that one misses from Durham. The count now 2-0. A reminder, UCF and Tulane next. As Jeff Brightwell will tag back into the ring for me here. Winner of this game has a day off, comes back to play in the winner's bracket side on Thursday, and that one misses 3-0. They check down the line, no swing.
Tulane went into the final weekend of the regular season, the runner-up, by a pretty good margin. They fell 2 games to UConn, who had to have it to get into the top half. Looks like he held his bat back there. This is a very talented number 3 seed this season, the Green Wave are. Excited to see them play again in person.
And you know, with ECU probably hosting in the NCAA tournament coming up, we have a really interesting battle among the on-the-bubble teams as this one's ripped down the line and left. It's going to go all the way to the wall. Coming in to score is Weimer to tie the game 4-3, and it's an RBI double for the Aussie, Mitch Holding.
Holding with just 13 RBIs coming into this one, but he laces a double into the left field corner. That one's just right out over the plate by Durham. And scoring all the way from second will be Weimer. That one got all the way into the wall.
Not seeing any full bullpen action yet for Memphis here in the bottom of the fifth. In a tie ball game, 4-4. Runner on second and one out. And Jace Mercer at the plate. Jace has reached both times. Hit in the second, walk in the third. Shows bunt. And he clipped it. Strike one.
Durham had retired 5 Bearcats in a row, then gave up the one-out walk to Weimer. He stole a base and came around to score on that RBI double by Holding.
And the pitch to the junior. Mercer is hit towards center. Will it drop? Yes, it will. Base hit. Runner holds at third. Wide turn for Mercer. So now it's runners on the corners and one out.
Neal acted like he had this one all the way off the bat, just trying to freeze the runner, Weimer, from scoring. Gets that ball in quickly to the cutoff man. Keeps the game tied up at 4.
That's the 7th hit of the game for the Memphis Tigers, and we're going to have a visit out to the hill. Pitching coach Russ McNichol for Memphis.
What's interesting, A.J. Bumpus batting in the 7-hole, your lead RBI producer, and here he is with a man trying to drive him around.
And A.J. is also 2 for 2 on the day also. It's been this lower part of the order that's been a problem for Chris Durham, as Mercer's reached base all 3 times. Bumpus is 2 for 2. Murphy reached on an error back in the second. He's on deck.
Senior left-hander warming up is number 8, Alex Smith, 6'3", 215 pounds. But for now, it's Durham's.
One out and runners on the corners. In a tie ball game, 4-4. Cincinnati has tacked on 1 to square things here in this 2 versus 7 game here on the first day of the American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship. So here is Bumpus, singled and scored in the second. Picked up his second single in the third. He's got Holding at third, and Mercer, who has very good speed, the runner at first. Bumpus looks at the first one, 1-0. He's a .312 hitter with runners in scoring position this year.
Every time one of these teams has scored, the other is answered. 1 run by Memphis in the first, 3-run explosion. I mean, they've been able to come back and put runs on the board.
1-0 is hit toward right center. It's going to go down for a hit. That could go all the way to the wall. Holding comes in to score. Rounding third, here comes Mercer. He will score. It's a 2 RBI triple for A.J. Bumpus. And Cincinnati takes a 6-4 lead.
The all-time leader in triples at Cincinnati has another, the 14th of his career. Maybe no bigger hit in the ball game than that one. His team now leads it by 2, 6-4.
No surprises there, as A.J. Bumpus, one of the all-time leaders in triples. In fact, I believe he is the all-time leader in triples in the history of the conference. And this might toll the bell for Chris Durham with 1 out and a run on third. Down 6-4.
So no extra base hits for Cincinnati until this inning, and then they just explode with the double, then the triple, 3 hits, couple runs come across.
And we will see the new Memphis pitcher here when we return. 6-4 your score, bottom 5 here in Clearwater. We'll be right back.
Are you mom? Get set. Let's go. It goes.
It's hard, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, zero sugar. Get more out of zero.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle,
a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right.
There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives.
power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
Bernie scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30!
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
One out, bottom of the 5th, and we have a new pitcher on the hill for Memphis. It's Alex Smith, a lefty for a lefty, replacing Chris Durham.
6'3", 215 pounds, a senior. He's making his team-leading 26th appearance of the year. All have come out of the bullpen. 3.86 ERA, 4 wins against 2 losses. He also has a save. Right now he needs to stop the bleeding and eat up some innings for the Tigers if they want to go deep into this week. More on Smith, 32 1/3 innings pitched. He's given up just 23 hits, only 14 earned runs, and struck out 35. Opponents are hitting 197 against the senior.
This is his best year so far. For his career, he's 4-3 with a 4.91. 6'3", 216 from Lakeland, Tennessee, and he's facing Cole Murphy, the first baseman. And waving and missing at that one is Murphy. 1-1 the count. Cincinnati's pushed 3 runs across here in the bottom of the 5th. They have a runner on third and 1 out. And that one's in the dirt. Good play by Santano. 2-1.
Smith averages better than 1 strikeout an inning. There have been plenty of Ks this year. This is the 4th time in the last 5 seasons that Memphis has rewritten their single-season strikeout record. They now have 491 Ks on the year.
Could really use one here with the infield in, too, as well, with 1 out and that runner on third. This one's chopped right side foul. They got good speed at third, too, with Bumpus after that triple. I beg your pardon, Garrett.
They have 3 different players at Memphis who have 75 or more strikeouts. Durham, who we just saw, Hunter Smith, we'll see later this week, and Alex Hicks. All of them are in the top 10 in the American Conference in Ks.
So once again, the infield is in. It's a 2-2 count with 1 out and a runner on third. Memphis is down 2. Cut on a miss, strike 3. So 1 batter, 1 strikeout for Alex Smith. 2 down now, and Jeremy Johnson steps to the plate.
Left-hander had it belt high, but some good run to it. Got it right by that big bat.
Now Durham is still responsible for the runner at third. That's A.J. Bumpus, who had the 2 RBI triple. Johnson, the center fielder, stepping to the plate, had that sacrifice bunt in the 2nd. Part of the first Cincinnati rally where they tacked on 3. They push 3 across here in this frame and lead 6-4. We're in the bottom of the 5th with 2 out. Johnson is 0 for 1. He did strike out his last time. .254 hitter on the year, but he's only hitting .191 with runners in scoring position. 1-1. Up the middle, past Smith and through for a hit. That will score Bumpus, and it's now 7-4.
Good time for his first hit of the tournament. RBI single, right back up the middle for Jeremy Johnson, right through the wickets.
It's a tough break for Smith, too, because it was right back at him. And we go back to the top of the order with Eric Santiago. 2 out and a 3-run ball game now for Cincinnati. 7-4 here in the bottom of the 5th.
When the runs have come, they've come in bunches. 3 runs for Cincinnati in the second, 4 runs here in the 5th. They might not be done.
Check over at first. Sort of a lofty throw there by Smith. Have you ever
Loosest definition of the word check.
So runner on first and 2 out. That's the 9th hit of the ball game for Cincinnati. As that pitch misses, ball 1. That also closes the book on Durham. 4 1/3, gave up 7 runs, 5 of them earned on 8 hits. Walked 4, struck out 3. On 80 total pitches, Smith delivers the 1-0, and that one misses low and away 2-0.
Low 90s on back-to-back pitches to the top of the order. Santiago doesn't look phased up there. Singled in his first at bat.
And that one misses low and in. Another great stop by Santana. Johnson's got good speed over at first. 19 stolen bases on the year. He's 76%. Santiago singled in the first, struck out in the second, popped out to short in the 4th. 3-0 the count now. And that one misses inside, ball 4. So Santiago reaches for a second time. It's now first and second with 2 out. And Joey Bellini steps to the plate. This is not the part of the order where you want to mess around if you're Memphis.
No. Talented hitter coming to the plate. And the wind continues to just push out hard to right field. Anything into the air could be trouble.
Joey Bellini's pushed his average up to 300 on the dot. He's 1 for 2 today. Also walked back in the first. He had a 2 RBI single in the second. And with first and second, they're going to try and throw behind the runner at second. Want to know the count. Memphis does have 5, 6, and 7 due up in the top of the 6th, but they're down 3 right now, 7-4. That one's in there for a strike, and the count even at 1-1. Smith, the lefty, 6'3", 216. Went to Evangelical Christian High School. And time taken here in this key spot for Memphis in the bullpen. They've given up 4 runs in this frame, and here's the 1-1. That one's in the dirt once again. Don't know if Smith is trying to get him to chase or if he's just missing at this point. Kind of nodded at Santana there. After that pitch missed inside. Here's the 2-1. And that one's inside, 3-1.
I don't know if we touched on the pedigree for Bellini and his family. His father was a baseball player at Rollins College here in the state of Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Sister played college lacrosse. Cousin Eric Karros, may have heard of him, played for the LA Dodgers.
Yeah, he played for a time, didn't he?
And his brother-in-law, currently a pitcher with the Rays.
That one misses outside, and Joey Bellini will walk down to first. Bases loaded now for the Bearcats, and 2 out.
Cincinnati is now batted around in the inning. 4 runs have come across. And there's a Bearcat at every base.
And 2 consecutive walks as Smith struck out the first hitter he faced, Murphy, then given up hit, walk, walk. And a big spot here for Wyatt Stapp. The designated hitter can break the game open with the bases jammed. Stapp is 0 for 3. Popped out once and grounded out twice. 277 hitter. Takes that one outside, ball 1. With the bases loaded, Stapp is only 125 on the year. We're in the bottom of the 5th, 7-4 Cincinnati with the lead, looking for more. 1-0 is fouled back, 1-1. Boy, this is such a tremendous spot for Alex Smith and Memphis right now because the game is on the brink. We know it's obviously double elimination for these halves of the brackets. The loser has to play tomorrow. Winner gets a day off.
Since coming in, Alex has walked 3 batters. He's also given up that RBI single to Jeremy Johnson. Got to throw strikes here and keep it low to Stapp.
It'll be a 1-1. In the dirt, Santana's getting a workout back there. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Benito Santiago, who used to throw from his knees. Talk about more former Marlins for you. Bases loaded, 2 out. Smith. Right side, through the hole for round to score. So officially he's 0 for 1. Takes a strike on that first pitch from Smith. It's been a rough relief outing for Alex Smith, the lefty. He's up over the 20 pitch mark in this inning alone. Here's the 0-1. Waved at and missed. Walked 2, given up 2 hits and 2 earned runs. Bellini's the runner at third, Stapp at first. Stapp's going to run. Here's the pop up to right. Vogie makes the catch, stumbling down, but he hangs on to it, and that ends the inning. But Cincinnati pushes across 6 runs in the bottom of the 5th, and they take a 9-4 lead on the Memphis Tigers. This is the 2019 American Baseball Championships, presented by the United States Air Force Reserve.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do. How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
Lights are on as the shadows are getting long here at Spectrum Field in this 3rd of 4 games today to open the 2019 American Baseball Championship. Cincinnati pushed across 6 runs in the bottom of the 5th. They now lead 9-4. And David Orndorff will step back out onto the hill for the Bearcats. He's given up his share of runs, 4 of them, all of them earned on 5 hits. Through 5 full innings, walked 2, struck out 2, and he's been well, on his behind for quite some time in that long inning where his team got pushed 11 batters to the plate. But not a bad spot to be in, up 5 runs in the first game of the tournament. He will face 5, 6, and 7 in the Memphis batting order, and Cale Henneman will lead off. Henneman takes a strike. So Orndorff is up over 80 pitches now. Henneman, the senior, 0 for 2. And the count now square at 1-1. 4-5-1 for the Tigers. 9-10-0 for Cincinnati. Now, it pays to remind you at this juncture in the game, as Henneman waves it and misses at that one, 1-2, that the last time these two teams faced each other in the American Athletic Conference Championship, Memphis came back from down 14-8 in the 8th to force extra innings and win the game 15-14. They're down 9-4 now. This one's down the line. Great stop over at first by Murphy. The toss over to Orndorff in time for the first out. What a play by Murphy.
If you're a Cincinnati fan, this is playing right into your desires. They only have one guy on the team that started more than 10 ball games in a year. For Orndorff to be able to pitch to contact, have his team make defensive plays like that behind him, he needs to be able to eat up innings and maybe set them up for more success here in Clearwater later in the week.
What a play. That had extra bases written all over it, too. But one out, and Alec Trella steps to the plate now. Trella's reached base both times. Walked in the second, singled, and brought in a run in the third. Seems like that was a long time ago now that we're in the 6th after that long bottom of the 5th. The 1-0 misses on the inside corner. Temperature here at Spectrum Field has finally dropped below 90 degrees. It's 89 right now as we're past 7:30 p.m. Eastern time here in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. 2-0. That one low and away. 3-0. UCF and Tulane should have a beautiful evening in store for themselves tonight. Already see a few UCF fans in the stands here. That one's in there for a strike. 3-1. Reminder for all the action here from Clearwater, up-to-date updates and highlights. Follow us on Twitter, American_BSB. Ball 4 to Alec Trella. And he will trot down to first with one down. For Orndorff, that is his 3rd walk of the game. He's only struck out 2. And his next pitch will be his 90th.
That breaks a string of 8 batters in a row set down by Orndorff.
Down the line, foul by about 3 feet. Peyton Marshall at the plate. Peyton's 0 for 2, struck out his last time. And he tries to chop that one down the line again. That one's also foul. Well, we've seen a little bit of everything so far in the first 3 games, haven't we? Walk-off win by UConn over Houston in the first game. Absolute dandy of a ball game. Wichita State, the 8th seed, who had to win on the final day of the season just to qualify for the tournament, knocked off the 1 seed ECU earlier before this game. ECU team that set a record for wins in the conference. Probably going to host in the NCAAs, and now they're in the losers bracket.
For Wichita State, that's back-to-back seasons in the American. They've opened their tournament opener with a win.
1-2. Cut on and missed, strike 3. Strikeout number 3 for David Orndorff. And with 2 down and a runner on first, it'll be Nick Vogie stepping to the plate. Vogie has flied out both times. See some action in the Cincinnati bullpen now with Orndorff up over 90, now approaching 95 pitches. This one's hit in the air by Vogie left side toward foul ground. Santiago makes the catch and ends the inning. So David Orndorff puts up another 0. Your score 9-4. Cincinnati with the lead over Memphis here in Clearwater at the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve our time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
9-4 your score. We head to the bottom of the 6th here in Clearwater. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Woolvard with you from beautiful Spectrum Field as Alex Smith trots back out for his second frame of work for the Memphis Tigers, who led this game 4-3 heading into the bottom of the 5th when they gave up 6 runs. So they now trail 9-4. And for Alex Smith, he will face 5, 6, and 7 in the Cincinnati batting order. Mitch Holding, Jace Mercer, A.J. Bumpus, and those are the guys that got the rally really going for the Bearcats in the previous frame. They sent 11 hitters to the plate. Holding had the key to RBI double, beg your pardon, in the 5th. Cincinnati leading 9-4. First pitch, cut on and missed. Fooled Holding on that one, 0-1.
See if Smith can throw strikes, settle in a little bit. Again, giving up 6 runs on 5 hits with 3 walks. Not a good introduction to the ball game.
Way outside, and the count now 1-1. Talked about Mitch Holding, the catcher from Melbourne, Australia. Long and winding road for a ball player from Australia all the way to Cincinnati. In his first year with the Bearcats, came over from Odessa Community College. 2-1 the count. That one misses in. And Smith now behind in the count, 3-1. Not where you want to be. With Mercer and Bumpus due up after Holding. That one catches for a strike, and the count now full at 3-2. Mentioned that tomorrow will be the elimination day for both brackets. Houston will face ECU. Hard to believe that one of those two teams is going to go home tomorrow. Holding hits this one high in the air toward right. Marshall camped underneath it. 1 down.
$14 all-conference selections in that matchup tomorrow at 3 p.m. 14.
And not just that, but you have a game where ECU is trying to play for positioning in the field and trying to ensure that they're going to host in the NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, Houston's on the bubble. It's not a 100% thing that they're going to get in. They're in a dogfight right now with UConn, UCF, and Tulane. At least one of those teams isn't going to make it. Jace Mercer steps to the plate. He singled twice and walked. And he's quickly in front on the count, 2-0. The interesting part about this side of the bracket is UCF's RPI is in the 40s. Everybody else, their RPI is actually lower than Wichita State, if you can believe it. This is down the line and foul by about 3 feet in left.
I can believe it.
Looked like that one just barely missed one of the Seagulls who's made his way over here to clear. We're only a few miles from the beach.
Look who else made their way over here. Tulane Green Waves sitting behind the third base stands.
Yep. I don't see any of the UCF Knights yet, although I do see several of their fans have made their way in. We started this game pretty late. It was originally scheduled for about 4 p.m.
There they were, the top home run hitting team, top batting average by a club in the American.
2-2 now the count after a strike. Base is empty, 1 out.
Well, I think if anybody has the ability to come out of a loser's bracket and make it to a championship game and win it, it's East Carolina.
Especially with that kind of hitting. Fair ball down the line at third. And Mercer will trot into second with a stand-up double. So 1 out and a runner on second for Cincinnati. It's their 11th hit of the game. And how about the day Jace Mercer's having? 3 for 3 with 2 singles and a double. He's reached base all 4 times he's come to bat.
3 extra base hits for Cincinnati's offense, all coming in the last inning and a third. Pretty impressive, and they've all come against Alex Smith, the reliever for Memphis.
And now the Bearcats looking for some more insurance with 1 out and a runner in scoring position with A.J. Bumpus at the plate. He's 3 for 3 with a pair of singles and the big 2 RBI triple in the 5th. Smith is not having any of it from Mercer over at second. And this one's fouled back toward us. Look out over there. We're in the bottom of the 6th. With Cincinnati leading Memphis 9-4. Go ahead, Garrett. I'm sorry.
Right-hander has been warming for the last 2 innings behind Smith over the left field wall right now. So Memphis has an arm ready if they'd like to go to it.
Santana with the stop there, 1-1. Also looks like Cincinnati's got some action working.
You know, if you're Memphis, you still have 3 innings coming up to bat. 7, 8, 9. Warming up for them right now. The Tigers looking at number 12, Landon Kelly. You can't be ready to throw in the towel this early.
1-1 misses outside, 2-1. This game got off to quite an interesting start. That solo home run by Colton Neal in the top of the first to give Memphis a 1-0 lead. Cincinnati fought back with 3 in the bottom of the second. Memphis took a 4-3 lead in the third. But then a big crooked number for Cincinnati in the bottom of the 5th, putting up 6. And they lead 9-4.
Big swing there by A.J. Bumpus. He put a charge in this stadium with that triple that got all the way to the wall in right center in the last inning. He would come around to score later as well.
And you want to talk about speed on the base paths. He certainly has it. As he was on his wheels around second, heading into third easily on that one. He faces a 2-2 count here with Mercer on second. And that one misses low, and the count pushes full. Mentioned tomorrow's elimination day in both sides of the bracket. Thursday is Winner's Day. UConn will face Wichita State in the first game, 3 p.m. here on the American Digital Network. We have yet to find out who'll be playing on the other side. Bumpus just barely clipped that one foul. So we'll come back and do it again. Payoff pitch with 1 out and a runner on second.
Cincinnati were to advance. They won their season series against UCF. They lost it against Tulane, 2 of 3 on each side. I just want to see the Bearcats finally come away with a win in the conference tournament.
I'm sure you're not the only one here. Some of the folks from Cincinnati are looking to witness some history. That one's in the dirt about a foot in front of Santana, ball 4. So it's first and second now with 1 out. Smith is scuffling out there. That's his 3rd walk given up in 1 inning pitched. He's faced 8 batters. Correction, 9 batters. And Cole Murphy will step to the plate.
Bumpus with a nice day at the plate. He's been on base all 4 times.
And we'll have to wait now as we may have a pitching change in store for the Memphis Tigers as Darren Schoenrock trots out to the hill. And we will go to break while they sort it out. 9-4 your score. Cincinnati with the lead over Memphis here in the bottom of the 6th. We'll see the new Memphis pitcher in just a moment here on the American Digital Network.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
Scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We all dream about our next vacation. But some of us turn those dreams into action. The bookers, the doers, they hit that confirmation button and let's goers. Because bookers know that the perfect place to stay is right there for the booking. Be a booker at Booking.com, the world's #1 choice for booking accommodations.
More than 7,000 student athletes rising to become champions in 22 different sports at 13 esteemed institutions across 11 states. 360,000 students and 2.6 million alumni rise up in celebration of a Power 6 conference known as the American, powered by determination.
Nice time to hang out on the berm here at Spectrum Field as the shade is cooling things down. We're seeing a little bit more shadows out here, and the shadows are starting to creep on Memphis, down 9-4 in this ball game. We're going to have a new pitcher, which we'll get to in just a second. But just a reminder, coming up next after this game, those guys right there in the black and gold, the UCF Knights, will take on the top hitting team in the American, the Tulane Green Wave, 47 minutes after the conclusion of this ball game here at Spectrum Field. We're in our 3rd of 4 games today. New pitcher on the hill for Memphis is Landon Kelly, the righty from South Haven, Mississippi.
6'1", 210 pounds. He's made 18 appearances, 3 of those starts, the rest in relief. His ERA is north of 6, 2 wins, 3 losses in 40 innings pitched. Landon Kelly has struck out 37 and allowed 27 earned runs. Opponents are hitting .333 against him. He'll take on Cole Murphy.
First and second for Cincinnati and 1 out. That one bounces past Santana to the backstop, and the runners will advance. Boy, that one took a huge hop. So now it's 2nd and 3rd and a 1-0 count with 1 out.
Depending on how they rule that, could be his team-leading 7th wild pitch of the year. Take a closer look at it.
Look at how high this thing bounced up.
That just kind of broke down his catcher, had to slide to his right.
So Cincinnati up 5 runs right now, 9-4. They have 11 hits. One more could push them into double digits for the game. The 1-0 is down the line. Great play over at first by Vogie. The run will come in to score, though. He couldn't get the throw off down to home. But now Cincinnati extends their lead to 10-4.
Vogie will take that, 3 unassisted. That one was hit hard, though. Had to dive just to keep it from going into the outfield. Steps on the bag. And now 10-4 in favor of the Bearcats.
Mercer with good speed down the line. And Bumpus advances to third now. So 2 out, runner on third. And Jeremy Johnson, the number 9 hitter in the order at the plate. Johnson singled and scored his last time.
Johnson, a graduate transfer from Auburn, redshirted, played 2 years for the Tigers, graduated in 3 seasons, now has 2 years of eligibility left with the Bearcats.
1-0. In there for a strike, 1-1. Landon Kelly from Christian Brothers High School in South Haven, Mississippi, still in the Memphis area. Came to Memphis as a transfer, last pitched at Austin P. 1-1. Tapped off the plate over to the left side. It's going to be a tough play over at third. Not in time as the throw from Henneman. And Bumpus comes in to score. It's 11-4.
2 pitching changes in the last inning and 2/3. 7 runs have come across in that time. And the onslaught continues by the Bearcats. They lead it now by 7.
And back to the top of the order, we go with Eric Santiago. Eric's 1 for 3, walked and scored his last time. Johnson now the runner on first with 2 down. And that one misses 1-0.
Jeremy Johnson, 1 stolen base shy of 20 on the season.
Here's the 1-0 from Kelly. That one's in there for a strike, 1-1. That closes the door on Smith. 1 inning pitched, 4 runs, all of them earned, 3 hits. Walked 3, struck out 1 on 43 total pitches. Got on and missed 1 and 2. Cincinnati leading this game 11-4.
Santiago with the big home run cut there. He doesn't have any dingers on the season.
Now with your team up 7 runs, you think now's the time when you want to swing for the fences. 1 and 2, hit high in the air to left. Heading back for it, Neal in center. It's going to die out there in his hands, and that ends the inning. But 2 more for Cincinnati. They push their lead out to 11-4 through 6 full here in Clearwater. It's the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
On your mark, get set, let's go. It goes.
It's all right, huh?
NBA superstar.
Gatorade Zero. All the electrolytes, 0 sugar. Get more out of 0.
Power comes in all forms.
Power is a big tackle, a big save, a clutch hit,
or a game-winning shot.
Power is also standing up for what is right. There is power in the sportsmanship that is displayed across the American.
Power is respecting opponents,
Officials,
student athletes,
Coaches and team representatives. Power is not tolerating racial or ethnic comments,
profanities, or other improper actions while at the game.
The American.
Power for life.
The American. Power for life.
The American.
Power for life.
Eleven to 4 your score. Cincinnati with the lead over Memphis as we head to the 7th inning. Jeff Sharon and Garrett Wolverine here with you at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, Florida. Day 1, game number 3 here at the American Baseball Championship. We have a new pitcher out there for the Cincinnati Bearcats. It's the senior, A.J. Coleman. Ice, they call him. 6'8", 225 senior is out there to try and perhaps close this one down.
He's making his 20th appearance of the year. That includes 9 starts. He has 1 save with a 4.7 ERA, 1 win against 6 losses. In 61 1/3 innings pitched, he struck out 48, walked 26. He's given up 69 hits and 32 earned runs. Opponents are hitting just under 290 against him.
And one of the more interesting characters on this Cincinnati team. Usually he's their Friday night guy, or at least he started out as the Friday night guy, then moved into the bullpen. And so far, that's worked out for him. You want to talk about a tall drink of water, though, 6'8". And that ball, if you're a hitter, that ball's coming at you from all kinds of weird angles.
I don't know if it's the red on the uniform or it's the fact that he's 6'8". He reminds me of a player that was in this tournament years ago for Rutgers, Charlie Law, who was 6'8" for the Knights, who was a pitcher and a hitter. And I believe he pitched a game and hit 2 home runs in it. Not bad.
Not bad for a day's work. Leading off the top of the 7th, 9-1-2 for Memphis, Jason Santana, who is 0 for 2 on the day. First pitch from Coleman misses, 1-0 the count. Santana, the senior, 224 on the year, 370 as a leadoff hitter. And he takes a strike, 1-1. 11-4 your score. Cincinnati pushed across those 2 insurance runs in the bottom of the 6th. Then if you're Memphis, you're running out of outs. They only have 9 to go here. One from Coleman. And the count now 1-2.
Orndorff, your starter, in position to win his team-leading 5th game in 2019. Cincinnati 9 outs away from their first tournament victory ever.
One-two from Coleman. Santana hits this one in the air. Back of third, Santiago takes care of it, 1 down. So Orndorff's outing tonight on this opening day for the tournament. Can't ask much more from one of your senior leaders and top pitcher on the roster. Gave up 4 runs, all of them earned on 5 hits in 6 innings. Walked 3, struck out 3 in 94 total pitches. And you always wonder about run support. Well, he had plenty of it. 11 runs for Cincinnati today as they lead by 7. Ben Brooks, top of the order, steps in for the Memphis Tigers. 1-0 the count. Brooks singled back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3. Lightly taps this one over to 3rd. Throwing on in time is Santiago, 2 down.
The 11 runs scored by Cincinnati is the 2nd most they've ever put up at this tournament. The other, of course, the 14-15 game against Memphis. But in 9 innings or less, pretty impressive here. 11 runs on 12 hits, clean in the field.
In steps Colton Neal now for Memphis. Neal hit that solo homer back in the 1st that gave the Tigers a 1-0 lead. And now steps in with 2 out and nobody on his team, down 7. One for 2 on the day. Cut on and miss, 1-1 now to count. Coleman with that wide delivery from that 6'8" frame, misses. It's 2-1. Neal this year hitting .289. That's a career high. His previous high was .238 back in 2017. This is his 214th career game for the University of Memphis. For his career, 142 hits coming into today. And that home run was his 80th career run batted in. 3-1. Catches the outside corner, and the count runs full to Colton Neal. For his career, that was also his 9th home run. Down the line foul. We'll come back to it again.
Neal looked all right a couple of weeks ago against Cincinnati. Had a couple of hits. Scored 3 runs in the middle game. Just trying to be a base runner here. Slowly mount an attack against Cincinnati, who's cruising with a 7-run lead.
Here's the payoff pitch. Towards center. Johnson has a beat on it, makes the catch, and that ends the inning. 1-2-3 for A.J. Coleman in the 7th. Your score 11-4. Cincinnati with the lead over Memphis here in Clearwater at the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to 35 miles of white sand bliss. But it's more than emerald surf and Gulf breezes. The beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of life, nature, art, music, or whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast in St. Pete Clearwater. Love the beach.
Scores!
3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We're done stretching here in Clearwater. Down to the bottom of the 7th we go. 11-4 your score, Cincinnati over Memphis. Jeff Sharon and Garrett Woolvard here with you as the sun is setting here in beautiful Clearwater, Florida. The shadows are all the way across the field, and the temperature is dropping as we cross over 8 p.m. Eastern time. We expect weather like this the rest of the week.
After what we endured last year.
Yeah, which I hope is not a kiss of death, certainly, at this point. So Cincinnati leading by 7 runs as we head to the bottom of the 7th.
They put up enough runs and hits for 2 games. They still have 3 innings to bat if they need it. It doesn't get any easier for Memphis. 2-3-4 coming to the plate for the Bearcats.
And Landon Kelly still out there on the hill for the Tigers as this one's tapped foul by Joey Bellini.
How good has Cincinnati been in the field? I mean, the pitching has just been standout good for the Bearcats. Of the last 14 batters, Memphis does not have a hit. The only thing breaking up that streak was a walk that was issued. They've gotten everything they could have asked for on the hill and really handcuffed Memphis offensively.
Bellini today has walked twice and singled, knocked in 2. That one goes to the backstop. 1-1 the count. Mentioned this is a Memphis team that came into the tournament with no hitters over 300. Bellini is right at 300 right now. And he takes a ball on that one. 2-1 now the count. Head coach Scott Guggens and the number 2 seeded Bearcats. Oh, what a play over at second. Outstanding play by Ben Brooks of the Memphis Tigers, saving a hit on that one. Look at this catch.
90 miles an hour on the pitch, came right to him in a hurry, full extension, and get your jersey dirty.
Outstanding. 1 down, no one on. And now stepping to the plate, Wyatt Stapp, who had a 2 RBI single his last time in that 5th. He actually batted twice in the 5th inning. Cincinnati sent 11 batters to the plate in that frame, pushed across 6 runs to take a 9-4 4 lead. They lead currently 11-4 after they tacked on 2 more in the previous frame. And Stapp now facing a 1-1.
Every Cincinnati player in the lineup today has reached base. Stapp and Weimer are the only ones without hits.
1-1 from Kelly. Lined over to short. And Alec Trella takes care of that one. So 2 batters, 2 lineouts. 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Joey Weimer now steps to the plate. As you see the line out over to Alec Trella over at short. Weimer takes a breaking ball on the outside corner for a strike. He's walked twice today. Came around to score in the 5th. He also batted twice in that 5th. Big tall sophomore swings and hits this one high in the air. Neal in center makes the play. 1, 2, 3 go the Bearcats in the bottom of the 7th, but they still lead 11-4 here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater. It's the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the Air Force Reserve.
In a city known for doing things our way, there's a university that's driven to do the same, to blur the outdated line between academic pursuits and active ones. Not just to learn, but to experience, to create, solve, build, to explore and express, to lead. Because an education isn't something you get, it's something you do.
How do you drive impact for 200 years? By doing it boldly. By building a bridge, breaking a barrier, planting a flag, owning a stage. Because here, we learn by doing and believe the status quo was built to be broken. So be proud, be bold, be Cincinnati. We're 2 centuries in, and we're still creating what's next. We are boldly Bearcat.
To the 8th we go here in Clearwater. Look at that beautiful sunset right over Frenchies here at Spectrum Field. 11-4 Cincinnati your score. Leading the Memphis Tigers. Jeff Sharon and Garrett Wolvert here with you on the first day of this tournament. A.J. Coleman back out there for the Cincinnati Bearcats in relief of David Orndorff. He heads into his 2nd inning of work. Coleman, who was a Friday night starter for Cincinnati, moved to the bullpen after their rough start, and it's worked out for him quite well. He did pitch against Memphis in relief in Cincinnati's 4-2 win over Memphis back on May the 12th. Interestingly enough, it was Durham who took the loss in that game for Memphis. He started this game for the Tigers as well.
4 complete innings for the Tigers without a hit. The last one, the RBI single by Trella in the 3rd. Their only base runner in that time was Trella, who walked in the 6th.
And if there's a guy who's going to get something going for the Tigers at any point, it's going to be this guy, Hunter Goodman. 1-1 the count. Hunter had an RBI double back in the 3rd. He's 1 for 3 on the day. Coleman came in, by the way, in relief of Clayton Colvin in that previous regular season meeting, as Goodman waves at the 1-1 delivery, now 1-2. Pitched 2 perfect innings of relief, struck out 2. Goodman taps this one foul down the 3rd base line. A reminder, coming up next, 47 minutes after the conclusion of this game, right here on the American Digital Network, it's the UCF Knights, the 6th seed against the 3 seed Tulane Green Wave.
Get a cup of coffee, stay up with us, put it on your flat screen, put it on your tablet. You know, Goodman did a great job of filling up the stat sheet this year, being a leader as a freshman.
And he ropes this one, but right to second. Mercer makes the play, 1 down.
Picked up his 67th RBI earlier in this game. The conference record dates back to the first year in 2014 when Jeff Gardner of Louisville had 68 as the Cardinals made it all the way to Omaha in the College World Series. Hit it hard, but the right side of the infield pretty well patrolled by Cincinnati and Mercer.
So a 1-for-4 day for Hunter Goodman, and now Kyle Ouellette steps to the plate, cuts and misses at the first offering from A.J. Coleman. Ouellette is 1 for 3 with a double. That was all the way back in the first inning. And that one's in the dirt. Well, if this score holds up, Cincinnati is going to be in very unfamiliar territory in the winner's bracket. However, the Memphis Tigers will not be, as we've seen what they've done on the loser side of the bracket in this tournament more than a few times. 1-1.
They've never come here and not registered a win. In 2016, they played 5 games, made it deep into the semifinals,
and forced a second game on Saturday. That's true. Along the way, they knocked out the 2 seed that year, which was ECU. They knocked out the 3 seed South Florida as well that year. Two and two the count to Ouellette with 1 out and the base is empty. And Coleman misses inside. The count runs full. Ouellette, the senior from Johnson City, Tennessee, went to Science Hill High School. Payoff pitch. Fouled it off of himself. Will come back and do it again. Ouellette this year's had 2 4-hit games. At Western Kentucky, he had a 4-for-5 day. And he had a 4-for-4 day against UNC Wilmington 2 games later. He's cooled off a bit with the bat this year. Still at 306. That one's fouled off. Good at bat. Interestingly enough, in this game, Garrett, Memphis has only left 4 guys on base. Cincinnati, with 11 runs, they've left 8 on. 3-2. In the dirt, did he go? No. And Ouellette draws a walk with 1 out.
Just the second base runner for Memphis over the last 4+ innings.
And that's the first base runner all year given up by A.J. Coleman against Memphis.
Wow.
In 3+ innings of work. Cale Henneman now steps to the plate. Henneman's 0 for 3, and he lines this one foul 0-1. The last Memphis Tiger hit was with 2 out in the 3rd. It was the RBI single by Alec Trela. That gave Memphis a 4-3 lead in the 3rd. Down the line and fair. Ouellette rounds second. He's going to try for 3rd, and actually a great play over there and right by Bumpus to hold Henneman to a single. There's the kiss of death right there. That's the first hit since the 3rd inning for the Memphis Tigers, but they have runners on the corners now.
16 batters come and gone. They finally break through, get a hit here. Now runners on the corners with only 1 out.
And Trela now steps to the plate. Trela's 1 for 1 on the day. That hit, obviously, back in the 3rd. He also walked in the 2nd and in the 6th, so he's reached base all 3 times. 1 out and runners on the corners in an 11-4 game. And that one's in there for a strike. Trela, this year, 30 runs batted in, 50 of 188. He's also struck out 55 times. 5 homers, 15 doubles, and a triple. Here's the 0-1 into right field. It will fall for a hit. Ouellette will trot in to score, and your score is now 11-5. Cincinnati with the lead, with 1 out here in the top of the 8th, and Memphis still has 2 men on.
Can't keep him down forever. Trella so powerfully built at 6'3", 220 pounds. He was second on the team with 5 home runs. Powers that one over the infield and drives in a run.
How about Alec Trella today? Reached base all 4 times. And we have a pinch hitter for Memphis at the plate now. Evan Bell. A 5'9", 200 redshirt sophomore from Oak Park, Illinois. Takes a strike on the first delivery.
Nice when you can bring a pinch hitter off the bench, hitting .333.
Yeah, he's 6 of 18 at the plate this year, slugging .611. He's got 6 runs batted in, 1 home run on the year. He's also got 2 doubles out of those 6 hits. Here's the 0-1, left side, base hit. That's going to load up the bases all of a sudden. So hit number 7 on the season for Evan Bell. And that's 3 consecutive hits for the Memphis Tigers. And the bases are loaded with 1 out here in the top of the 8th.
That'll prompt a timeout called, and a coach coming out of the third base pen to talk with his reliever, who still enjoys a 6-run lead, but at the same time, they're trying to ensure victory here, and back-to-back-to-back singles is pause. Chance for concern there.
Good piece of hitting right there by Bells. You saw him going for that pitch. It was a really good pitch down and away. Trying to see if there's any action in the Cincinnati bullpen. Doesn't look like it at the moment. As the pitching coach for Cincinnati, J.D. Heilman, in his second stint as a pitching coach at Cincinnati. Previously, he was with the Bearcat program from 2009 to 2013. Came back under head coach Scott Guggens. So it's the bases loaded now for Nick Vogie with 1 out for the Tigers, facing A.J. Coleman, who all of a sudden is up over 30 pitches. .1-0, misses outside. 2-0. Coleman looks like he's scuffling a little bit here with a 6-run cushion in the top of the 8th, but the bases are jammed. With the bases loaded, Nick Vogie this year an even .500. And to think the Tigers could use a little bit of that magic right here. Chopped over towards second. It's they're going to try go and get the safe thing over at first as Mercer 2 down. So the run comes in to score. It's now 11-6, and it's second and third and 2 out.
Pulls this one to the right side of the infield. Runners all taking off. They'll trade a run for an out, and coming across to score is Hanneman.
So with Bell on second and Trella at third now, Jason Santana steps to the plate, the number 9 hitter. And this is grounded toward the right side. Might be a tough play, but Coleman covers in time and takes the toss from Murphy, and that ends the inning. Memphis tacks on 2, but they're still down 5, 11-6. As we head to the middle of the 8th here in Clearwater, it's the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Strong in mind, strong in body, strong in school, sport, life.
The grind is 10% physical and 90% mental.
The mind is the power.
The body is a means to jump higher, run faster,
be smarter, and live longer.
There is no weakness when it comes to seeking help.
We are stronger together.
So let's talk about it.
A waterfall starts with one drop.
Change starts with one person.
The American is dedicated to ending the stigma related to mental health
and promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
Promoting success through a healthy, powerful mind.
We're back here in beautiful Clearwater, Florida, as we head to the bottom of the 8th with Cincinnati leading Memphis 11-6. Here at Spectrum Field, Jeff Sharon, along with Mr. Play-by-Play himself, Garrett Woolford, with you on what has turned out to be a picture-perfect evening in Clearwater. This first day of the tournament where we have 4 games for you. We saw 2 thrillers in the first session, and so far in this one we've seen quite a bit of offense. But Landon Kelly on the hill for the Memphis Tigers is still trying to keep Cincinnati at 11 runs. His team is down 5, and he will face 5, 6, and 7 in the order.
Kelly came on in relief an inning ago, gave up a pair of RBIs, including an RBI single to the bottom of the order, Jeremy Johnson. Since then, he's retired 4 in a row, including a 1-2-3 inning in the 7th.
And we have a new hitter up at the plate for Cincinnati in the 5 spot. Replacing Mitch Holding is Griffin Merritt. Merritt will come in and play first. This is his first at bat of the game. Merritt hitting .208 on the year, 20 of 96, and the first pitch is in there for a strike from Landon Kelly. Kelly's gone 1 2/3, has not given up a run, only 1 hit surrendered. Swung on and missed quickly, 0-2.
Merritt with good size up there at 6'2", 205 pounds. He's a Cincinnati native by way of LaSalle High School in his freshman year. He's played in over 30 games for Coach Googans.
He's one of the guys who kind of got caught in some lineup shuffles after Cincinnati struggled. This is going to be a tough throw from third from Henneman, and he makes the play. Outstanding play by Cale Henneman over at third, 1 down.
It's a high chopper. Good call by the official. Long throw across the diamond. Got him by a couple of steps.
You want to talk about a strong throw over there, particularly because he was on his heels. That was an outstanding play. Jace Mercer now steps up to the plate. What a night for him. He is 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double. He scored 3 times. He also walked, so he's reached base all 4 times he's come to the plate. Boosted his average up to 245. That one's fouled back quickly, 1-1. You know, the Cincinnati team has had such a weird year. They're last in the conference in team batting average at 246, last in slugging percentage at 346, last in on-base percentage at 342, and in their first game of the tournament, they pound out 11 runs and 12 hits. Go figure that. Over to Brooks at second, 2 down.
We just saw over the left field wall the closer for Cincinnati, Corin Thompson, getting warm. He's the team leader with 10 saves on the year out of the pen.
A.J. Bumpus now steps to the plate. Great day for A.J. too, 3 for 3. He's also scored 3 times, had that 2 RBI triple in the 5th. He walked and scored his last time. Kelly's first offering misses, ball 1. Kelly's faced 8 batters, giving up only the 1 hit. Here's the 1-0. Bumpus way out in front of that one. 1-1 now the count. Oh, by the way, I also forgot to mention Cincinnati's last in the league in runs scored at 257, and they have 11 tonight. That one misses way in. Base is empty, and 2 out here in the bottom of the 8th. 11-6 your score. Cincinnati with the lead. Kelly's offering is in there for a strike. And the count now square at 2-2.
Bumpus has played in over 185 career games. That's a beautiful shot by our home plate camera here in Clearwater.
Yep.
2 triples as a rookie. 4 home runs 3 years in a row. Just hit his 5th earlier on in the ball game.
Right back through the box on Kelly. That's the second hit he's given up, and A.J. Bumpus is on first with 2 out. That's hit number 13 of the game for Cincinnati.
They have yet to retire him in 5 at-bats. Now 3 hits in the game.
How about A.J. Bumpus say a 4-for-4 night? Pinch hitter at the plate now for Cincinnati, Mason Deanna. Backup catcher. And he taps this one over toward short. Trella tosses over to Brooks, covering second to erase Bumpus and end the inning on the force. Your score through 8 full, 11-6. Cincinnati leads Memphis. We head to the 9th here in Clearwater at the 2019 American Baseball Championship presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
This is St. Pete Clearwater, home to Clearwater Beach, the #1 beach in the U.S. as chosen by travelers on TripAdvisor. It's not just white sand and Gulf breezes. Beach is an attitude. It's the vibe of whatever brings you joy. Experience the American tropics on Florida's Gulf Coast. Visit stpclearwater.com. Love the beach.
Bernie scores! 3 strikeouts in a row.
Dominance for a 4th straight year.
Cueto from 30.
Unbelievable. And be able to celebrate this type of championship.
There's the record breaker. They are the champions of the American.
We go to the 9th. A.J. Coleman looking to shut this one down for the Cincinnati Bearcats, up 11-6 in this 2-7 matchup. The 2 seed living up to the expectations indeed. Cincinnati, obviously, should they hold on, would have tomorrow off. They will come back and play Thursday. Meanwhile, if the score holds up, Memphis would have to come back and play tomorrow against the loser of our next game. 47 minutes after the finish of this one, UCF and Tulane. Of course, Cincinnati would face the winner of that game on Thursday. Jeff Sharon, Garrett Wolverd here with you on what has turned out to be a beautiful night in Clearwater. Last ups for Memphis, down 11-6. And they have the top of the order coming up. Brooks, Neal, and Goodman, 1, 2, and 3. Tigers push 2 across in the 8th, but they're going to need 5 to extend this game tonight. First pitch from Coleman is lined right to second. Nice play once again by Jace Mercer over at second base, 1 down.
And now it's a matter of 2 outs. 2 outs that does not erase the history from the last 5 years here, but starts them in the right direction. 2 outs from winning their first game in this tournament and moving on into the winner's bracket. Great little play there by Mercer at second.
Base is empty, 1 out. Colton Neal steps to the plate, who homered all the way back in the first. Walked in the third and has flied out twice. Takes a ball on the first pitch from A.J. Coleman. Best part is here for Cincinnati, if they can keep it to Coleman, they're saving a lot of energy and stamina in their pitching staff for whoever wins that next game. It could be hot hitting Tulane, obviously. It could be that scrappy UCF team that took 2 of 3 from Houston to finish out the regular season. 1-1 from Coleman. And that one misses 2-1. Our first matchup for tomorrow is set 3 p.m. right here on the American Digital Network. It's the 8 seed Wichita State, who knocked off the 1 seed ECU earlier today, against the 4 seed UConn. Cut on and missed by Neal, 2-2. ECU will face Houston tomorrow. in an elimination game. How about that? One of those two teams is going to go home tomorrow, 2 days into the tournament. The 2-2. Chopped back up the middle, making the play from short as Bellini. Tough throw, not in time. So Colton Neal speeds out an infield hit. That's the third time he's reached base. 2 for 4 night for him. And with one away and a runner on first, Hunter Goodman steps to the plate. Talk about the range over there by Bellini, the Winter Park, Florida native. All the way over on the first base side of second to make that play. Double play is in play here for the Bearcats. Last year they led the country in double plays.
It's interesting to think about what East Carolina will do tomorrow in a game they have to win to continue in this tournament. We haven't seen the pitcher of the year. Do you throw Jake Agnos? Do you throw Jake Kuchminer? I mean, what do you do here? You know, you want to set yourself up not only to get the win in advance, but you want to think a little bit further down the line as well. Who does Coach Godwin go with?
I think the really interesting thing is also what does Houston do, since they're really on the bubble for the tournament and probably playing for their NCAA lives. This is a double play ball over to Mercer. He will throw to first anyway. Runner advances to second. 2 down, and Memphis is down to their final out. Kyle Ouellette, the designated hitter, will step in with a runner on second and 2 out. A reminder, UCF and Tulane, 47 minutes following the conclusion of this game. There you see Ouellette trying to keep this game going. 2 out and a runner on second. And the first pitch is in there for a strike. A.J. Coleman on the hill, looking to finish off 3 solid innings of relief. He's given up 2 earned runs on 4 hits. He hasn't struck anyone out. He's walked 2. Of course, David Orndorff got the start. And this one's grounded left side foul. Orndorff stands to win this one for Cincinnati. Chris Durham, on the other hand, stands as the losing pitcher in this ballgame for Memphis. 0-2, and Memphis is down to their final strike. 1 man on and 2 out. In the dirt, tried to get him to chase. This was a game that Memphis at one point led 4-3 heading into the bottom of the 5th. 6 for the Bearcats in the 5th, 2 more in the 6th. And despite Memphis chipping into the lead a little bit, we stand right now at 11-6 game. So here we go with a 1-2 with 2 out in the top of the 9th. In the dirt, 2-2. And assuming this result stands, once again, Memphis is in that dreaded losers bracket. And I don't necessarily say that because Memphis feels bad about it, because for quite often, as we've seen before in the past, they've caused absolute havoc in the losers bracket in this tournament.
Pretty good regular season by the Memphis Tigers, finished as the 7th seed. And whether they would play Tulane, whether they would play UCF, they have an opportunity to try and advance in this tournament just like everybody else. They won games against UCF back on April 27th. They had a game canceled against Tulane, split the series with the Green Wave in Memphis, 1 game apiece. So there's success there.
It'll be a 2-2 to Kyle Ouellette. Missed on the inside corner, 3-2. Coleman's a little upset after that one.
89 miles an hour on the inside.
On the other side of the ledger, by the way, for Cincinnati, they took 2 out of 3 from UCF after losing the first one 15-0. Against Tulane, they lost 2 out of 3, won the third game 7-6. Fouled back, and we're still alive. So Kyle Ouellette of Memphis trying to keep his team alive, down 11-6. A.J. Cullman, the pitcher for Cincinnati, trying to close this one out for the Bearcats in what would be their first win in the American Athletic Conference tournament in school history. Cut on and missed, strike 3, and there it is. The Cincinnati Bearcats win their first game of the 2019 American Baseball Championship, 11-6. The final score over the Memphis Tigers, 11-13-0 for the Bearcats. They leave 9 on base. Memphis with 6 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error, they leave 6. And how about the 2-seed Cincinnati Bearcats, who are moving on? They will play on Thursday against the winner of UCF and Tulane.
Congratulations to Cincinnati, their players, their fans. It had been more than a decade since they won a conference tournament game, the 2008 Big East tournament, right here in this stadium. They played for the tournament title against the Louisville Cardinals. That's the last time they won a conference tournament game. They've gotten off to a great start here in 2019.
Take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some post-game action right here from Clearwater. It's the 2019 American Baseball Championship, presented by the U.S. Air Force Reserve.
Opportunities present themselves every day. Opportunities that move us forward. Opportunities to serve part-time in your community. Explore your opportunities in the Air Force Reserve.
Final score once again here from Clearwater, 11-6. Cincinnati with the victory over Memphis in Game 3 of the tournament. Let's go down to field level and Haley Otten with head coach Scott Guggens.
Coach, before this game today, you mentioned that scoring runs has been the Achilles heel of this team the past couple of weeks. 11 today, what clicked?
You know, A.J. Bumpus got the big hit in the 5th inning. He got the big 6th run. He got the triple. I thought we swung the bats well, but early on it was the same type of deal. We were getting guys on, weren't scoring them, but that 5th inning was big for us.
First win for Cincinnati in the American Athletic Conference Tournament. How much pressure does this take off of your group to finally get that W here in Clearwater?
I think it takes a lot off. We were ready to play, and I think we were too ready, you know. And the first couple innings, we weren't loose. Obviously, after the 5th inning, when we scored, we got a little bit loose and started playing a little bit Bearcat baseball. But it was good.
Big win for the program, but even more importantly, you're headed to the winner's side of the bracket, which means a day off for tomorrow. How does that set your team up for success on Thursday?
Well, again, we got Clayton Colvin going on Thursday. We've got our bullpen. You know, we went with A.J. a little bit longer than I wanted to, but he can bounce back. It sets us up well for this tournament. So we're excited. Obviously, just get that first win, to get us back on track was good.
Thanks, Coach. See you Thursday.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Haley. So Cincinnati advances to 27-29 on the season. The 2-seed advances to Thursday, like we heard from Coach. Memphis, meanwhile, drops down to 500, 27-27 on the year. A.J. Cullman gets the save for the Bearcats. David Orndorff gets the win. Chris Durham takes the loss for the Memphis Tigers. Let's go back down to Haley at field level.
AJ, 4 for 4 today, 2 RBI. As a senior, how prepared did you feel heading into this game in the tournament?
I felt pretty prepared. I wanted to do something we haven't done in my 4 years, which is win a conference game. So I was pretty determined to do what I could and feel good. I felt good up the plate. So, yeah, I felt pretty prepared coming in here.
A 6-run 6th inning. What was clicking for your team during that time of the period of this game?
I think just the hits got contagious. We saw the guy enough, and we had a pretty good approach up there, and we stuck with our approach, and it started to fall for us. So that's what clicked for us.
As a senior, you mentioned it, first ever win for you in this conference tournament. How much of that was a pressure heading into today's game in the postseason one last time for you?
I mean, of course, I was kind of thinking about it coming in, but as the game started, I started thinking. I just started to compete and just play the game that I love. So, yeah.
This is a team that a lot of people overlooked in the preseason, picking your group to finish 8th, but a 2-seed here in the tournament. How confident is this group to keep this season going?
We're really confident. We want to prove everybody wrong about before the preseason predictions, we want to prove everybody wrong. So we're pretty confident that we can do that. So, yep.
Thanks, AJ. See you Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Haley, and thank you, AJ. What a night for him once again. 4 for 4 with a pair of RBI. Jace Mercer, 3 for 4, also for Cincinnati. Garrett Wolvert, as the Bearcats are moving on, and they play Thursday against the winner of our next game coming up in 47 minutes. It's UCF and Tulane here in Clearwater. Meanwhile, Memphis will play the loser of that game tomorrow here at Spectrum Field. So once again, your final score from Clearwater: Cincinnati, the 2 seed, defeats the 7 seed Memphis 11-6. For Haley Outen, Garrett Wolvert, and our entire crew here at Spectrum Field in Clearwater, I'm Jeff Sharon saying so long, and we'll see you in 47 minutes right here on the American Digital Network. It's the 2019 American Athletic Conference Baseball Championship presented by the United States Air Force Reserve. Stick around, UCF and Tulane coming up next.